Welcome to Comtrack, where you'll never have to watch a movie alone again. I'm your host, Tim Leifheit, and joining me, as always, is my good friend, Sean Wheeler. How you doing, Sean?
Pretty darn good. Looking forward to
Yeah.
getting into this.
Oh, yeah, dude. We got a doozy for this one, because, I mean, look, like, it's kind of impossible to not do this one this year, especially for November the 5th, because I don't know how many people are actually listening, all three people that are listening to this opening night. But yeah, we're posting this on November the 5th, Guy Fawkes evening, for you listeners out in Britain. Hopefully, there's a significant more of you now that I've appeased to your Ghost Watch little tickle spot. But yeah, and of course, if you want to just skip ahead, go straight to the movie, like not hear all our stupid ass bullshit. There's, as always, there's a button below that'll tell you when the movie begins, and you can just sync it up from there. But that said, V for fucking Vendetta, dude. Yeah, like okay, so I want to know because you've got a longer comic book history than me, Sean. So like, were you introduced to the movie or the book first? Because I actually got introduced to the film first.
No, I was introduced to the book first because, well, once you read Watchmen, you're just like, what else has this man done?
Oh yeah, dude, totally. That's
And so you
exactly
kind
my
of,
mindset.
yeah, so you kind of ended up going down that rabbit hole. So, I definitely, read the book prior to seeing the movie, and, um, yeah, it's certainly a weird creature because I love the book so much. I mean, I understand the brilliance of Watchmen, but honestly, V for Vendetta is probably my favorite thing that Moore has done from all his various works. I mean, I haven't read anything by Moore that I've ever been like, well, I didn't like that. But I think my
Yeah, it's
favorite.
kind of hard. It's kind of hard to not like anything with
Yeah,
his name stamped on it. You see, hell, like just any comic book reader, anything with the credits stamped written by Alan Moore. It's just nerdgasms all around. Like that's our coming.
yeah.
you
So
know.
I dig all his stuff. I mean, really enjoyed it. And I just think that V for Vendetta, in particular, really encapsulated um, so many of the political beliefs that I was just coming into at the time.
Yeah.
Obviously on the side of V. I've always kind of been very anti-authoritarian in my uh, outlook and viewpoint, and as weird as it is to say, it took longer for that to crystallize into a political position than just a general like I hate authority rebel.
Yeah, well, I read it when I was a lot younger, so I was totally like, "Fuck the police." Just,
Yeah,
I really was like, "Fuck everything!" Like, just smash. The Native Americans lived without which is total bullshit. Like, I want to slap my 16-year-old self. Like, bitch, they totally had leadership. They had organizations. It's just
oh yeah,
they were just a lot smaller, and they were a lot more a little more chaotic, like those old tribals and tribes and civilizations and whatnot. But that's just
it
fucking
wasn't even so much that they were.
teenager shit.
It wasn't even so much that they were smaller. They just figured out ways to coexist with their environment, and then as opposed to deciding to fully dominate it.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess that's why I was able to sort of twist it, in my stupid 16, 17-year-old mindset. But yeah, it's years later where I'm like, oh my god, it's so cringy. It's like looking through your high school doodles when you were like way goth, like embarrassingly goth. Because I don't want to dig on any like actual cool goths. Because fuck, I'm practically married to, like a big titty goth girlfriend, or at least is like what that's exactly what she calls it. I'm totally taking words out of her mouth.
Hey, there's all this talk about big titty goth girlfriends, but I don't ever see any talk about the big titty goth boyfriends. What the hell?
I know, right? Well, I mean, I'm not that big. I mean, I'm probably like maybe a B cup at most.
So, I need some love for the heavyset goth man out there. Come on now. We need love too.
Oh my god. Well, you know what? I guess in that case, because we're gonna see him later, we can always just fucking visit Stephen Fry. I know he'll definitely appreciate us.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing talent.
Ah, so good, dude. But yeah,
If only
as
he'd
far
work
as
with Hugh Laurie again.
oh, I know, right? If only, dude. But whatever. God, it would have been amazing if Hugh Laurie had like a cameo in this movie. Just like just like look, I'll do like Stephen Fry's like, look, I'll do this movie, but if I must, my good friend Hugh must make an appearance, and if he can, he would love to play the piano for you because he is such a wonderful human. As a matter of fact, you know what? What you remember the skit that happens later in the movie with like the fake Adam Sutler and whatnot, and it turns into a like. They had a band in the background, and there was a piano. Why wasn't Hugh Laurie in that? You sons of bitches.
I honestly don't know what he was doing at this time, so I can't.
He was probably slapping people left and right on House at that point, because this is 06, 07. Like,
yeah,
2005,
I loved House,
2006.
but I just don't remember the heyday of when it was out. So
I'm pretty sure it was around that, because I know, like, the real heyday was like 2004 to 2006. So
okay,
this is right about in there. So I guess that's why he was just pimp slapping doctors and ERs to not do the movie.
Right.
But anyway,
I should put this in there because I do have an interesting personal note about this movie.
Please.
The copy of it I own was gifted to me by a friend. He took me out and got me drunk one night because I was feeling rather offended because a good friend from high school had decided not to invite me to her wedding.
Oh,
and
lame.
literally, like, all of our the other members of our friend group were at that wedding. So my buddy and his cousin, like, took me out and got me wasted. And, it was just a good, fun time out with my friends. And then, like, literally, like, that night before I was passing out from being drunk, he's like, hey, I know you don't have a copy of this yet, and just hands me a copy of V for Vendetta.
Oh.
And I was like,
well, how about
thank
that?
you. Like, I appreciate that.
That was very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, I had a similar experience, but in reverse and with the book. I had lent it to, basically, it's basically my not sister, my pseudo-adopted sister, because she was best friends with my younger sister, and she was constantly hanging around. And my mom practically like, oh yeah, I've basically adopted her. She called her mom all the time anyway. So, but she had never read V for Vendetta, and she was like, oh well, I've got a copy. Gave it to her, never got it back ever.
Been there.
Yeah.
Like, well,
yeah.
I'll get another copy because that went away.
Yep. I wound up getting another copy, nice and cheap too. I think I got it like I got like $3-4 off it because literally you can pick up a copy in any bookstore these days.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a staple. But
the tragedy is always though, like if you give a copy away, and it was like the copy you first read, and then the edition changes or something, so the cover's different. And you're desperate to still have like that version. It's like,
oh, totally. That's why I rarely will give out my original copy of Watchmen, because it's like the actual printing that it's supposed to be, and not like the reprints that they've been doing lately, where it's just the splash of blood against the yellow. Like it doesn't have the name Watchmen on the side, like it's supposed to. Damn it. But yeah, no, I got it's pretty much the exact same edition that I originally got, so I'm happy because there really haven't been like a whole lot of crazy...
I mean that cover's so iconic and it does it so well that it's like you don't really need to do any variations thereof.
Exactly. Although if I had a little bit more money at the time, I think I would have actually gotten the edition that comes with the Guy Fawkes mask, because like then I could
we do not forgive. We do not forget.
Exactly. Well, it'd be well, I'm also kind of low key glad that I probably didn't, because let's be honest, if I did have me a Guy Fawkes mask, I probably would have taken it to the streets and like earlier this summer, just like Just and also sporting a British accent to kind of hide myself a little bit further. I might have to actually get like the hat and the cape and maybe not the knives because I don't want to get fucking shot.
Yeah, see, the danger though is if you're the only guy in a Guy Fawkes mask, you're really easy to identify because you're the guy in the Guy Fawkes mask.
Yeah, that's. I probably should have. Maybe I should just be like, go to an anonymous sort of like rally or whatever. Do they still have those?
Well, I mean, look, if we're going to get into this kind of thing, you got to be aware of what kind of protest you're going to. If you're all blacking out, great. But if you black out, nobody else is blacking out, then guess what? You're the guy in all black, and you're really easy to identify by the cops. The point is, you have to know what kind of protest you're going to, because you need to dress to blend in so that you can't be singled out, so that they can't come after you. Got to keep yourself out of the pig pen.
Kids, you're listening. When you go to a protest, make sure you're dressed appropriately. This is
Leave
very
your cell phone
important.
at home. Have all the important phone numbers you need written down, and make sure you got an exit plan.
Always have good protesting etiquette. Always. And of course we're going over protest etiquette for a fucking movie like V for Vendetta. And it even more so is that it's fucking. Not only is it 20. Well, okay, so that's another thing that this movie has always been like up in the air about, because you've seen lots of internet shit going around like on Facebook and Twitter and whatnot about how this movie is supposed to take place in 2020. But apparently it does well because there's like a lot of conflicting things because I rewatched the movie and apparently it never actually says what year it is. But according to Wikipedia, it says it's supposed to take place in 2027. In some other articles and other sources, it's supposed to take place in 2020. In others, it's like totally ambiguous. So I don't know, but the point is, I think what happened is that it's supposed to take place in the late 2020s, and like articles like Wikipedia or IMDb or whatever, they just picked 2027 as that year, and then the media saw that and said, "Oh, it takes place in the 2020s," and they just kind of very audaciously dropped the S. To be like, oh my God, they totally are. They predicted. Just so. But weirdly enough, here this does seem very appropriate given our current situation here in the States, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's although what's really strange is like because we all know that Alan Moore just hates every film adaptation that ever of his work that ever comes out, but he was particularly furious about this one, although there was a statement that kind of got me interested, and it was that he was really hurt by the fact that it goes from like this what he wrote is that it's supposed to be fascism and anarchism clashing, where it just be and they kind of turned it into this American neoconservatism versus an American neoliberalism, liberalism. Excuse me, I can't talk. And he was like, and he actually was like, "You fucking cowards! Why didn't you just, if you wanted to do a parallel of take my story and use it as a parallel to the current Bush administration, just fucking set it in America."
Right.
And that got me thinking, like, I think the only reason why they didn't set it in America is because it might have been too on the nose, and plus, fans of the original comic would be like, "Why isn't it set in?" Because how the fucking Brits are. Like, why are these wankers? It's like because it was kind of like what Spielberg was doing with, or thinking about doing when he was attached to do Harry Potter in like the late '90s. He wanted to totally bring Harry Potter to America, like have it be an American kid, and all the other producers, including J.K. Rowling, were really adamant that it had to be British. So yeah, but because I can kind of see where they're going with that, because they want to appease the fans of the novel, but at the same time they want to tell their own story.
Right, and the novel works very well. I mean, like in V for Vendetta, the graphic novel,
Yeah.
it is so British. Like the story it tells. I mean, yes, it's fascist and all this kind of stuff. Fascism, anarchism, blah blah blah. But when you look at, because obviously it was more writing it and the underlying humor and um, just a lot of the way the story is framed and stuff like that. It does feel very much like a British piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
Even if even being fantastical and all this kind of sense. So yeah, you can definitely take like that basic archetype story and translate it to another country. But if you're going to do that, because
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the best description I've ever heard of Moore's work. It's not that he does anything. It's not that he tells stories that are inherently original. He finds original ways to tell the oldest stories.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, he's always talked about how literally like there's a shit ton of things that were inspired by it. All the dystopian novels like Orwell and Huxley, Robin Hood, The Prisoner, Dick Turpin, British Second World War films, The Shadow. All these things were kind of like they've all been told before. He just tries to find original ways to tell them.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But yeah, and I'm trying to think because again I watched this movie on the heels of Watchmen as well because I'd found out about the movies first. Like the first exposure that I ever had to Watchmen was the fucking trailer for The Dark Knight. I
Mm.
was like, what the hell is this? Because it had that. It actually had like one of the cooler trailers with that haunting Smashing Pumpkins song. Um, and I was
Yeah.
like, "What the hell is this?" And I found out it was a novel, and then I saw the movie and the Watchmen movie, and then I was like, "What the hell is that?" Oh wait, no, I read the book first because I was still waiting for it to come out, and I was like, "What the hell did I just read?" And then I watched the movie, and I'm like, "Oh!" And then I went back to read the novel, and I'm like, "Oh!" And like it just started to pour, like all the ideas and all the poetry just finally made sense because it's one of those things sort of like I had with Blade Runner. Is I was like, I don't know what the fuck I just watched, but as soon as that Tears in the Rain speech came on, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I think I had a very different experience with Watchmen than you did.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, because I had that was in high school at the time because I was
Well,
circa
yeah.
2009, and
So
then after reading Watchmen, I was like, oh, what the hell else did he do? And that's when I found V
yeah.
for
See,
Vendetta.
I mean, I grew up reading comics. Like I started being a comic book collector at 8 years old. So
Yeah, yeah,
when I got into Watchmen, when I was a teenager, and it was like, oh look, like this subverts the whole superhero tropes. Like I loved it. I loved everything about it, and I loved the fact that here were these people trying to be heroes who were, by and large, with only an exception here or there, ineffectual and sucky at it. It's
yeah.
like, yeah, this is what the reality of what, these kind of people actually trying to do this would be. And I love that. And then the movie came out, and I'm just like, yeah, but no. Like, you're showing them like they're badasses, and they're just not. Like, that's not the point.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like there was a real like swing and a miss moment at a lot of times watching the Watchmen movie. I'm like, no, like
yeah,
no.
exactly. It's really frustrating with movies like these. Like they're because both this adaptation and the Watchmen adaptation are like when you actually look at them, they're actually kind of brilliant and they do some really interesting things. But at the same time, when you look at the when they're with their novel um, contemporaries, it's just like, wait, did you kind of miss the point here? Like, what?
Well,
It's
right, and
because it's like,
it's like if you watch this movie or if you watch Watchmen with, and that's the only form those stories existed in. Okay, they're fine. They're quite good, but that's the issue. when you compare them to the source material, and the source material is brilliant as it is, it's just like, ouch.
Yeah, well,
And maybe we should actually just get to this, because we're 20 minutes in, and this seems like the kind of discussion we should be having post-movie, not pre-movie.
Very true. Well, I just want to say that, like, because it's frustrating because the works are so brilliant, and they're not quite going up to where we would like them to be as a film adaptation. And we would probably be okay if the movie was like really shitty and bad. I'm talking like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen bad. That movie gets a pass for a lot of us because it's so fucking terrible. But these movies, like Watchmen and V for Vendetta, these film adaptations, there are talented people here, and there are talented things that they are trying to do. But because of that, because it's so talenting and they can't nail the source material, even in spirit, is frustrating, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, yes.
That's yeah. It's a weird thing, but you know what? I'm okay with them changing shit around, and especially for the sake of this movie, because at the end of the day, who gives a shit if it's different than the book? Because I always, yeah, all the fucking Guy Fawkes wear guys, exactly, just fuck you, like, but no, like, because what I'm trying to get at is because a movie adaptation should never be, the book directed by so and so. It should be the director's version or the director's vision of the book.
I to an extent I agree with that, but I don't know. Like, at what point are changes made to an extent where it's like, well, that's just so far off
that it becomes its own animal?
Exactly. And it's like,
well,
I don't care if you want to do like based on, but then you call it something different. Like, when you're rolling out with the same name as the source material, like, yeah, you are instantly putting an expectation in your head. And if you change it to a massive extent, I think it's a whole different creature. If you call it something else, and then in the credits it's like based on the, novel by blah blah blah. Like, that's a different thing. But like, when you're dropping that same name, you've instantly put an expectation out there. And I don't think you can be mad when people are like, dude, you messed that up. It's like, you put that expectation out there.
Honestly, it comes down to the whole thing is that, if you're going to change things, do it very methodically. Because, like, one of the most famous changes that were from two Stanley Kubrick movies, Clockwork Orange and The Shining. Mm-hmm. With Clockwork Orange, Alex, in his head, subverts back to his old violent ways. But in the novel, he's totally cured.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I could have sworn I remember.
No, you may have only read the American version of the novel, which actually left out the last chapter from the actual original novel.
Motherfucker!
He goes back to that old life, but and he's leading a crew. But even as he's leading the crew, he can kind of tell he's outgrown it. And that, he's going to be moving on from it. So it's like he reverts, but there's that awareness that he has grown up and this isn't really for him anymore and he's going to be moving on. But So, trust me, I am a big fan of Clockwork Orange, and that last chapter is so important.
Well, the more you know, am I right?
Because it's really, that's kind of the moral of it. Youth and teenagers are going to go do dumb, violent shit, and they will grow out of it, for the most part. Or they'll become police officers and be violent assholes forever. That's literally what's in the book.
Oh, boy. Well, now we got to do a Clockwork Orange later on. Which will be very interesting.
But I understand where you're coming from. There's a lot of things where it's like, oh, wait, this doesn't necessarily match up. And then you have issues like this where it's like, oh, wait, the source material wasn't released the same way in two countries. That's a whole different creature.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. I didn't even know that prior to this. This is total news to me. But yeah, it's just because I always think of like Apocalypse Now is like the key example for something like that. Based off of Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad,
Hmm.
but it's totally its own animal. You
Right.
know,
And
um,
that's my whole point. Call it something else.
yeah, yeah. Otherwise, we get really bitchy about things like fucking World War Z with fucking Brad Pitt had nothing to do with the movie except the title. And I'm like, look, guys, you can make this movie fine. The script's fine. It's an okay movie at the end of the day. Just fucking don't call it World War Z. Call it something
Exactly.
else. Like, so I guess, in an alternate universe, maybe it would have been cool if the Wachowskis just took the novel, wrote their own thing, and just said based it by, and decided to,
Well,
set it in America.
and I have to wonder though if by that point in time, because what has become the rule in Hollywood because of feedback from market research is that the safest bet is to do something within an already established brand. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sequels are like make the most money because it's something like or have the highest likelihood of being successful because it's already a brand people are familiar with and established with that they want to go back to.
Oh,
Which is
yeah,
one of the
totally.
reasons you see so many reboots and sequels these days because market research has just shown that like that is your highest percentage possibility for success.
Oh, yeah, dude,
And
totally.
so,
Like,
right,
the
but like,
whole.
right, but I don't think that attitude was in place or that research had been done at the time for like V for Vendetta. But I think that was probably pervasive by the time you get World War Z.
Yeah, it really was because, like, I mean, they've been doing that kind of technique for ages, like with books, like
Yeah,
based on this really popular bestseller and whatnot. Now it's just become even more weaponized. But, and that's why I always want to debunk the fact that there are more original films being made now than ever before. The problem is you don't ever hear about them because they don't have the same kind of billions of dollars
they're
in
going straight
marketing.
they're going straight to Netflix or straight to Hulu or straight to Amazon. They're not getting your theatrical releases, and so you're
Hell,
missing it.
some of them are literally are only seen at festivals and then they're gone.
Yeah,
Literally, that's the case. Like, so there are more original things going around. We just never see them because they don't have the marketing tools and they don't
well,
have
but
the
most of
approval
those,
of big studios.
but at the same time, most of the stuff that goes through, festivals and things like that, particularly if they're at one of the bigger festivals, they will get picked up by a streaming service. There
Yeah.
is so much good stuff out there. There's more than you can ever watch, but I definitely encourage people get out there and look. If you don't have
Yes.
your eyes open and you're not looking around, I mean, heck, if you have an actor or actress you like, go look up their IMDb and see what stuff they're doing. Chances are
Mm-hmm.
they've done stuff you've never heard of, but that's on a streaming service you have.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, we in college we used to have this thing at our university film organization meetings where we're like Netflix, untouched Netflix gems, which is really funny because several years last year they made a movie called Uncut Gems and it's pretty fucking good. Oh, you're giving me a face. You didn't like the movie?
Uh, that is a great character study. Adam Sandler delivers a great performance, but if I just wanted to watch a train wreck human being for 2 hours, there's better movies.
I guess. For me, it's one of those movies that I'm glad I watched once, but probably never gonna watch again because it is stress inducing.
I mean, a little bit. Like, look, I appreciate the performance, but I'm always waiting for, the Adam Sandler of Punch Drunk Love and Spanglish and Rain Over Me to come out swinging again. And while he did a
Uh,
really good job with Uncut Gems in his performance, it's like I want that level of depth and rawness that I've seen him do in those other films. And this was really just like, hey, I just want to be an asshole for 2 hours.
well, we'll see. I mean, he always did joke that if he didn't get the Oscar for that movie, he'd just be doing, gross out comedies for the rest of his life, or that are just tax write-offs. But anyway,
Hey,
well,
I mean, I got no problem with somebody making a sandbox and playing in it. I don't have any disrespect for him, but it's like I have seen him do some amazing work, and after
Oh yeah.
seeing that amazing work, I mean, man, I still gotta say, how different would the world have been had he played Donnie Donowitz?
Oh man, that would have been different. Probably a
Yep.
better world.
Yeah, so it's like
well, we don't get
you never
fucking
know.
Jack
All
and
right,
Jill.
let's get off of Adam Sandler.
Yes, please. Let's get right on this movie because holy shit, this is probably a record for the longest pre talk for the movie.
Yeah.
So that said, hopefully, like we didn't turn off too many listeners, like all 5 of them.
We'll do our best to turn you on.
Oh yes. So, but yeah, you guys got the movie. You got it on streaming. Got the DVD. We got it. We got it on Blu-ray right now. So press and play in 3, 2, 1, go. And there it is. Warner Brothers logo coming up in black and white. But yeah, oh man,
I like that it's not only black and white but grainy.
Yeah, they also got like an old filmy look to it, which interesting choice. I don't know how that really fits into it though, considering it's not exactly.
Can we just talk about like all the amazing things that came out of Vertigo?
Yeah, like Vertigo is kind of low key DC's best sub publishing unit.
It was just like, hey, remember when like DC actually made great work under Vertigo? That was awesome.
Yeah. Speaking of remembering, remember the 5th of November. Oh, right away. And I do. It's really interesting that they start it immediately with the gunpowder plot. Because I don't know how familiar you are with the history with it. You're probably more familiar with it than I am, actually, because you're
familiar.
Way into history. I mean, granted, I am too. Although my British, especially like 15th century Britain, is my history is a little rusty. Although what's also really interesting is this movie actually was. They tried really fucking hard to release this movie on the 400th anniversary of Guy Fawkes Night. They wanted to release this on November the 5th, 2005. So 400 years prior, 1605, November the 5th, is when Guy Fawkes was captured. But unfortunately, it just ran a little long in terms of post-production and visual effects. So they released it. I believe they released it in 2006 for St. Patrick's Day. So I guess that's cool.
Well, I mean, nobody hates the British like the Irish.
That's very true. And right now we get our flaming title V. Which is actually kind of cool.
And with justification, mind you. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, hey, check it out. Fox News. It's crazy because, like, especially, in the later nowadays, and especially during the current administration and whatnot, well, at least for now. I mean, we're recording this in late October. And this is after the presidential debates that we've just.
We're not going to have a result from the election for any time near when this gets published. So
exactly. So we have no idea what the hell is going to happen to where we are in this country. We're still in the weird, dark veil of uncertainty still. But yeah, in a lot of recent years, like people have looked at this and like. This film and they're like, did you explicitly try to characterize BTN or the British television network as Fox News? And like, not really. I mean, there's like a whole bunch of biased news networks out there that are owned by the news corporations. Like, I mean, I guess now you could just.
I do love this. I love this sequence though of like each of them getting ready to the background of this insane vitriol.
Oh, I know. Yeah, dude. Vitriol. I love. Dude, you can right on being the using the proper verbiage.
Well, we are watching a movie set in Britain.
Yes.
If this is not the time to be, shall we say, Oh, what is the best word for it? Is this not the time to be ostentatious? I don't know what is.
Yes, exactly. But I do like the fact that you point that out, that they're both like getting ready in parallel. That's exactly what they did in the book. So I can imagine you sitting there in the theater for the first time, like, oh, right on, we're off to a really good start.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, look, this movie does a fairly decent job of keeping with the spirit of the book for about like half of it, and then it
Yeah.
just takes a left turn. But like, so when I was first watching, I was like, all right.
Now I'm actually curious when or we can get there when we get there, but let me know when that turning point is, because I'm actually really curious as to where you're like, oh, okay, that's where
Yeah.
we're going. But yeah, now this is a classic setup. Little girl and young girl, pretty girl in an alleyway, getting roughed up by a bunch of big dudes, and then all of a sudden, out of the darkness, some dude just pops in to save her. Like, I actually like how they keep that comic book kind of trope. Like, it's actually kind of a smart way to ease the reader and the watcher into the film and the book.
I mean, I agree to an extent. However, already, as much as I liked how this started, they already cleaned up her character some. Because, in the book, she was out trying to prostitute.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And they make it
I mean,
here
they kind
and
of...
well, no, she's out going for a date. So it's like, yes, okay, it's still of illicit sexual nature, kind of. But, changing her from a lady of the night.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Yeah, right here, V himself appears. Although I'm not entirely sure if it's Hugo Weaving or if it's the original actor, James Purefoy.
Yeah, there's a couple points where I know where it's James, but this one I'm not sure about.
It's really hard to tell, just because they're really good at hiding it and making it flow as one performance by Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of amazed that, Hugo Weaving himself was doing a lot of this himself, and he just didn't dub and post.
Mm-hmm.
And his voice is invigorating in this. Oh, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck yeah. Punch and stab those not Nazis. They're basically Nazis, I'm saying. I mean, they do totally take like a lot of cues from Hitler's Third Reich to
Oh yeah.
present Northfire in this presentation. And of course, I love this introduction here. Because I'm a fan of alliteration in both poetry and writing. So this kind of alliteration is just like ear porn to me. And you know what's really strange? I actually remember watching this movie because, like I said, I watched this movie for the first time and then read the novel later. I was actually a little disappointed that this scene, this speech here, was not in the novel. This feels like the most Alan Moore thing to be in this movie that isn't in the original novel. The only verdict is vengeance, a vendetta. Oh, good shit, man. I also love how he even gets like kind of giddy at his own alliteration. And only once in that entire thing does he ever use the word very once. That just shows you how well versed he is and what a good writer he would be.
Mm.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that her name is Evie. Not just because, it was written as that, but I also really love the whole parallel that, there's the Adam and Eve thing, being tempted by the devil. That's kind of present in the original novel, because in the novel, it's not Adam Sutler, because they wanted, like, something that sounded like Hitler. It's Adam Susan. So, there's this whole Adam and Eve thing going on, which I thought was really cool. didn't really hit me though after reading it the first time. As a lot of Alan Moore stuff tends
Right.
to. Because half the time when you read like From Hell or any of his work, just about any of his novels, it's like, what the fuck did I just read? And then you process it and you read up on it and you read it again and you're like, oh, okay, right. Although I'm still trying to decipher From Hell. It's weird. Not anymore. So another really cool little trivia thing that I found out is, the Old Bailey that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, because they made all the British landmarks and monuments and whatnot for government and whatnot. They made those all in sculpture to blow them up,
Mm-hmm.
but they specifically had an alteration that I thought was really fascinating, and I wish they photographed it better. But if you look really closely, Lady Justice on top of the Old Bailey is not blindfolded. Yeah, because for those of you out there that don't quite know, like, Justice is supposed to be blind, therefore Lady Justice is always blindfolded in her statues, so she's unprejudiced and unbiased. But here, no blindfold, and that says a lot. And of course, the crescendo. Ah, good shit. I still thought it. Although I know that they had to change this up because I remember in the novel that he actually blew up Big Ben, right there in the get-go, and they're like, America, we kind of associate like the big finale should be blowing up Parliament and Big Ben. Like, we shouldn't blow that up. We can't blow that up too early. We got to save that for the finale. And then right away, we also got fucking John Hurt as Sutler, which is so cool because I don't know if you drew this comparison, but John Hurt specifically took the role because he played Winston Smith in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so now he's Big Brother. He gets to be the villain instead of being oppressed and have his pussy taken away.
Interestingly, do you know that John Hurt has special distinction in cinema?
Oh?
He currently is the world record holder for the actor who has died on film the most.
You're kidding.
Mm-hmm. He outdoes
Wow.
Sean Bean by about 40 deaths.
I was about to say, suck it, Sean Bean.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Wow.
He's died on TV and movies a lot.
Wow. Someone meme that shit. So, really, you know what? Justin, you're probably already going to be seeing this on the Comtrack Facebook page, but I'm going to make a meme specifically for that. So you'll probably already see it by this meeting. But if you are on the Comtrack podcast Facebook page, you'll not only give that meme a like, but also like the page, please. We need more supporters here. I don't want to get down like right on my knees like give us we want you to like us. We really want you to like us. But I do love the set design here, dude. Like this is like the a much darker version of fucking Doctor Strangelove.
Yeah.
Yeah, loving it. And of course I love how he is on this giant screen in an uncomfortably close up. Like, is he like just straight up leaning into whatever camera he's using to address his like little mini cabinet? Oh yeah, I love that line. It's not our job to fabricate the news. That's the government's job. Boy, does that it's it. I dream of a day when movies like this become hilariously irrelevant. You know? Like, hilariously so. Hopefully, it probably won't be one in our lifetime, but I'd like to see at least a time where at least to the general-ish kind of public where this stuff feels pretty dated and kind of dumb. But I doubt it, considering
Yeah.
on the paths we are. And we have fucking, oh god, what? Because I've seen this actor in so many other things. Because as you know, in England there are only like 50 British actors, so I know you've seen pretty much every one of them in there. Oh god, what? I'm trying to think, where have I seen him? Oh man, I don't think I've seen him in other shit. It's driving me nuts. That's it, Stephen Ray. That's it. Yeah, he was in Interview with a Vampire. But I've seen him in several other, British television shows. I'm pretty sure he made an appearance on Doctor Who at some point.
I mean, who hasn't?
Exactly.
If you're a British actor.
Exactly, totally. If you've been on fucking Doctor Who, then you're definitely one of the chief British actors, or at least you can distinguish yourself as such. I want to know more about that. Like, what the hell is that? Because honestly, that feels like a Wachowski sort of thing that they would have done. Like, that's something you would have seen, as like a fake TV show in The Matrix or something.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah, the boxes of costumes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another huge, because there are some plot holes, and this is definitely one of them. Because apparently there were like 3 or 4 full train cars that were being shipped to London. Where did V get the finances or the resources to get such an order? And if so, who did he order it from?
I mean, in the books, that would obviously make more sense, but that's an entire kind of subplot that they left out here.
Yeah, there's a lot of subplots that they left out.
Because, I mean, to clarify for people, in the books, you basically find out that the head of the government is using a massive computer to control
Known
most
as
of the
Fate.
government. Yeah, and V has also taken control of it. So when you have
devil.
control of the computer that runs the entire government, well, you can take any resources you want.
Yeah. That makes a lot more sense when you.
But they don't ever
lens.
put that in this movie, so it's just like, oh, those are some big questions.
Yeah, exactly. Because the whole fake computer is left completely out, which I am kind of sad at, because it's makes a fucked up relationship between V and Adam Susan. Also, is that concrete that he's like, putting the lock? Where does he get his resources? Where's his funding? Because I remember this movie. He pretty much runs out of a fire naked and burned. Where did he get all this shit? Where did he get the money? Where did he get the resources? Look, I know he's smart and all. I get that, but but you know what? Honestly, like, at the end of the day, this movie actually has an entertaining and interesting narrative, and has enough support where I can forgive shit like this. I don't know how you feel about that, though.
Well, I mean, as I said, I think it's just an adaptation issue as opposed to anything else. Like, okay, it's a plot hole, but it's a plot hole that doesn't come off as one in the books. So
yeah. I guess that's the benefit of having, supplemental material. What the fuck is that?
That looked so Doctor Who-ish.
I know, right? And now we have this wonderful speech. Actually, this was the speech where you can. Oh, right there. I also love the pictures of Adam in the background. Very Big Brother-ish, and also kind of a touch of like North Korea. Where they have pictures of their glorious leader.
Oh man, mini discs! Wow.
I know, right? And the whole strength through unity, unity through faith. Very, very Orwellian. What is it? War is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. But honestly, I'm not gonna lie. If someone decided to like just hijack the debates and play this message,
Oh yeah,
I'm here for them.
right.
I'm here for them because whether we like it or not, we're on the brink of a second American Revolution, and if we don't act now, we can either choose to continue, just continue where what we are, or we better tear down what's to come before it even begins and start over because. Well, I mean, that's just American principle. If the old government
Yeah.
ain't working, tear it down and start a new one.
And I mean, this is so true, though. It's like words retain their power.
Yes.
I mean, it's one of the reasons that you have, oppressive governments burn and ban books because words are powerful.
Yes, they are. That's actually another reason why I've always respected James Lipton of Inside the Actors Studio. Passed away very earlier this year. I was real sad about that, but he always had the questionnaire at the end of his shows, like what is your favorite word, and he was actually asked those set of questions, and he was like, what turns you on, what inspires you or excites you, and his answer was words. And I'm like, that's awesome. God, man, I miss that gentleman. He was such a good guy.
Indeed. I will say, I do love, even when it comes to like some of the extras and minor characters, they did a really good job with
Oh yeah,
character design and costuming in this movie. It's like they create really memorable looks even for minor characters who, aren't a main focus.
Absolutely. I mean, that's this is where your little bit characters or your insert actors really have to nail their point because they only get so much screen time to really give you a sense of who they are. Because that's the brilliant thing about the casting and the performances here, is that you can look at these people here, and just by looking at their faces for just a couple of seconds, you know exactly who they are and what they're about.
Yeah.
I also love this little girl with the heavy glasses.
Oh yeah. Also, I mean, man, what a time when this movie came out when people still had the conceptual um capacity to think that people would be on board for a year-long plan.
I know, right? God,
It's like, man, with what the internet's done to culture and everything else, like, I can't imagine anyone being like, let's wait a year and have this happen. It's like, you better be saying a week.
yeah, exactly. I mean, like, well, it's also happened like as a product of also the sensationalism of news and how it's completely been transformed by social media, because like nothing is fucking faster than Facebook,
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's like we've gotten so accustomed to the speed that you're totally right. I mean, nowadays, you remember when when Trump was getting impeached, like roughly about a year ago? That feels like 5 years ago at this point.
Right?
Just at the base of the speed. But I do love this little heist thing here where he dressed all of them up in masks.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
that's
shit.
always a brilliant way. If everyone looks the same, how are you going to figure out who the villain is?
Exactly. Of course, you would have thought that they would have immediately just start flipping their masks off and immediately, checking everyone. But it's okay because it gets for a really fucking cool reveal coming up here. For real, dude. Get a bomb squad on this. Why didn't they have a bomb squad already on the premises? I mean, if there's a terrorist organization that's threatening like a news corporation, they'll have a bomb squad ready in place just in case. But this is cool. Yeah, bitches. And I do love the last bit right here, where just up to the face, and then he spits blood. Oh, so good. That's some good blocking right there. That feels like a Wachowski. Like, that feels, because the Wachowskis did not direct this. That's a big misconception. They just wrote and produced it. This was directed by James McTeague.
Right, but there's always that thing where it's like, it depends how much, control the producers have, because sometimes they do exercise a high level of creative control.
Poltergeist. Sorry, I had a little something in my throat there. And this also I just remember this. Something that people pointed out for when The Mandalorian came out, that they were really remarking how this is the first one of the major series or television, or not just television but also in film, where the protagonist, you never see his face. It's just like a helmet. And it wasn't until like I rewatched this and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is totally like one of the more prolific ones that predate this, because you're directing a fucking mask.
Yeah.
And they did all these different things that they tried to do to they tried to modify the hair, they modified the lighting, they wanted different masks for different things, but ultimately they're like, look, let's just tell it through good lighting and body language to fit the mood.
Yeah, and they tried doing, actual live recording with a microphone in the mask. Didn't work, didn't get the quality they wanted. So literally all of his stuff is dubbed after the fact.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know to what level they had him, speaking in that moment, which is just like, man, imagine trying to have to react to that if he's not even doing the lines at that time.
Honestly, I think he did anyway, because he has to talk to and interact with actors and whatnot. But yeah, it's crazy. Like, Hugo Weaving didn't even need to be there.
But at the same time, he could have been cribbing, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, like, I don't have this fully memorized. We're going to be doing it in sync anyway, so whatever. I'm just going to kind of like, here's the gist of what I'm supposed to say right now. React.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I feel like he really was performing all of his lines there, because that's just your job as an actor. But
well, yeah, and I mean, Hugo does seem the type to do that. I'm just saying the possibility remains, and if there are any recorded bloopers thereof, I want them.
I know, right? Oh, dude. Well, though, I will say this: it must have made the stunt team very happy, because it's so easy to swap them out. But yeah, it's so crazy. You don't even need Hugo Weaving in the suit to be there. You just need him in, the fucking voice box.
But from what I understand, Hugo was very down to do a lot of the stunty stuff for this movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, after the long training sessions that he did on The Matrix, oh yeah, I could totally see that. But I do love the production design of the Shadow Gallery, because I mean, in the novel, it's kind of drawn obscurely, because the characters are really the main focus in there and whatnot. But, here in film, you have to render your environments a little bit more carefully and whatnot. And so they kind of went with like an old cellar, or like a mausoleum crossed with like a gallery and whatnot. And I really dig the look.
Oh, yeah.
I want a basement like this, just to have my fucking art and statues.
Basement?
Yeah.
Whole house.
There you go. Right.
Castle. Like, where's my castle?
Fuck yeah, dude. Like, have like one of those really nice ones that pop up on your Facebook feed that you just like house porning over, like, abandoned castles in Ireland or Scotland or wherever. Oh, that'd be so good. Be nice to have free healthcare over there too. But yeah, that's the. And although I'm really interested that they went with the song that they have, on the jukebox that they went with, because they explicitly say in the novel that it's supposed to be Dancing in the Street with Martha and the Vandellas. And I'm like, dude, why didn't you just go for that? Like, that's such a good song.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be those little kind of changes, so.
I guess, but, it would have been a nice little nod. And I guess I'm just because I'm like a big fan of Motown records.
Fair.
Yeah, I was raised on that shit. My mom's the real hardcore fan of that. Um, but yeah, and you also see a whole bunch of really cool movie posters in the background, like old ones. And of course, we're also going to see eventually uh, what was it, the shrine to Valerie. You know, I really kind of wish that they went full explicit with these falling in love with Evie, because they were really explicit about that, and they also kind of made it kind of an abusive relationship
Yeah.
too.
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah. So I'm kind of, because they totally reworked V in this movie to be a freedom fighter instead of an anarchist. Um,
Yeah.
and I also right here we got a small glimpse of underneath the mask, and it's kind of that's fucking Anakin Skywalker right there.
Like, is he
With
cooking sausage or is he the sausage?
I would hope that he's just cooking sausage, because although he's just having eggs and toast. That does
Very
look
odd British dish right there.
yeah, yeah, because man, I swear, my fiance has like a couple friends out in the UK, particularly in Scotland, um, and yeah, she always has to ask them like, man, why do you fucking Brits always have to be eating like you're still under siege from Germany?
Well, I mean, look, English breakfast is one of the weirdest world breakfasts. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out there.
Yes, it is. This is probably the most normal by the numbers thing, but I guess they again that's for the American audiences. I Robin Hood it. I Robin
Well,
Hooded
right,
the
but
butter.
and now you're talking. Where is he getting his resources? Robin Hooding. Now you know.
I guess, yeah. But man, one guy just pulling all that shit off. That's
Well, but you have to think, how many years was he planning this? How many years do you have to do that much Robin Hooding before you have the resources in place to just pull off your game?
good point. I do want to know where he got half of his artwork though. Although it's never really explained in the novel either, is it?
No.
Yeah. Well, for Alan Moore saying this movie's full of plot holes, there's one for you, Al. Where did he get his stuff? Signed, disgruntled fan.
And there is the line.
Yep, that's. Although it's interesting because a lot of people twist that so there's more equality, but really when you take that statement into fruition, you're like, oh, there really shouldn't be fear amongst any of them. They should be able to live in coexistence and in harmony.
Well, I mean, yes and no. It's a fear may not be the right word, but it's just like the people should not be, subversive to the government. The government should be the people should not be subservient to the government. The government should be subservient to the people.
Yes, but honestly, I think that they're trying to make him a little bit more morally ambiguous by using the words fear. Again, the power of words, everybody. Vanity. One of my least favorite attributes of humanity. Especially the fact that he has not only does he have a gold-plated remote control, but he has how many? 5 TVs inside of his bathroom.
Right.
I wonder if Trump does this.
I just love the fact that he's like, I want one shot, just one shot. It's like, here it is, man. What do you got?
Yeah. But I do wonder if Trump is like this too. Like he's got TVs everywhere in his fucking bathroom, and he's just, you know, talking to himself and shit. I do love that reveal though. Oh shit. And I also love how they play into that vanity there with that little insert where he's trying to suck in his gut in his uniform. Good shit, man. I am the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's work.
No, it was something a lot dumber than that.
Well, a lot of parallels between that kind of shit.
Sorry, I was playing off of the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood reference.
Oh, okay, right on. I do love that shot. The very obvious but cool and stylized split diopter effect.
Mm-hmm.
Split diopter is when two things and two different planes are in focus. That's a cool film term, you guys.
And interestingly, Pixar started using it, which is fascinating.
Yeah, I know, right? The great Nerd Writer. You saw that same Nerd Writer video essay, didn't you?
I did.
Good shit, man. Although I really wish that they had played up the how he takes out gets revenge on those who done him dirty from the camp, because I wish they had shown him like choking him like the mouth of London, or one of my favorites from the novel, and they kind of hint at it later on, but they don't explicitly say it. But the priest in the novel, when he actually captures him, does like a sermon with him, and then feeds him a poison communion wafer. That's beautifully poetic. And they kind of hint at it in the movie here, but it's not really explicit. And I really wish that they had, left that kind of poetry of death in the movie. But, again, whatever. Well, he doesn't have any hairs or prints anymore. Oh yeah, that's another thing that they changed radically from the novel, is that this whole thing is the government's regime is based on a lie from a virus that they created.
Yeah.
Whereas in the novel, there was a straight up nuclear war.
Right.
Africa and Europe fucking gone, and Britain is living in a nuclear winter basically, and so. The people reached for literally just about anything that they could in the crumbling UK, and they just happened to pick Norse Fire, which happened to be a fascist regime.
Right.
So, yeah, that's the other thing. We should never be allowed to become so desperate that we reach for literally anything.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, here we are. Reaching for for literally anything but Trump.
Right. It's just like
we are on a slippery slope. But it's okay, because I've already done my civic duty, and now all I have to do is wait and pray for the best. And by the time that we're listening to this, it will be totally irrelevant. That's that. Is it? Does the characterization of V bother you in this movie? Because I can totally see why he would. Because again, he's more of a freedom fighter here than he is as an anarchist. Because in the novel, he'll kill totally innocent people.
Oh yeah, and yes, there's definitely a level of, distaste for that. But most of his Well, he'll kill innocent people. It's innocent kind of with asterisks because the innocent people he kills in the novel are almost always, if I remember correctly, associated with the government.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like he doesn't do things willy nilly. It's like, okay, yes, they might die, but like they have stood up with the fascists. He does not care.
V is, literally is the perfect embodiment of the alignment of chaotic good.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is the fully realized version of that particular alignment, you know. So for those of you listening, like, you know, there's lawful good, there's lawful evil, there's neutral, there's true neutral, there's, you know, chaotic neutral, all these things. You can look that up. But yeah, V is truly is shows you the full blacks and whites, pros and cons, yin and yang of being chaotic good. It goes to show, like, it's particularly in the novel, that to label him like either bad or good is just too simplistic for the way he's written, you know, like, because he is designed to be the perfect anti-hero where you do not know whether he can be associated, or he cannot be aligned with good or bad, moral or immoral.
Well, right. The whole, one of the whole points of the book is to make you question whether or not the ends justify the means. Like,
Yes.
obviously, like, this government is awful, and he is fighting against it, and everyone can agree that government is awful. But is it necessarily okay the way he, approaches and goes about dismantling that government?
Yes.
But at the same time, I'm a biased observer, because I'm a big advocate for revenge. So it's like, oh, well, he's taking down the government, but he's also on a revenge trip, and I'm like, I'm here for it. Good, do it.
I'm one where it's just that because I'm the kind of person who thinks that if someone does have the power above, it has power, more power than others, they have a responsibility to be the lawful good in the room. Like, because, I always make the case.
Well, right, but if the people who are, then have more power are then abusing that power, maybe the chaotic good is what's necessary to reestablish lawful good.
Yeah, it's a crazy world out there, and it's a crazy world we live in. But yeah, V really is kind of designed to be the perfectly gray character. But it is weird though, because in this film, he certainly strays a little bit more towards the light than he does the dark.
Yes.
And again, this is something that I really like that they were doing here, doing these parallel events. Repeating bits. The filmmaking and the writing is on point here. It's just, you're like, you're kind of missing the point of the original novel that you claim to be such big fans of.
Yeah.
But either way, I still really like this adaptation. You and me both, sister. Oh yeah, this is the part where where he asks her for a favor to help his next murder.
Uh-huh.
Which brings up a very uncomfortable situation. I remember watching that because I think I watched this like in high school, and I was like, oh my god, that's so wrong. But then again, this was also...
It's so Catholic.
Yeah. Then again, this really was the point in my life where I was really starting to question authority, where I was not just getting into Watchmen and V for Vendetta, but I was also like really into watching Oliver Stone's JFK.
Strange.
Hmm. And it is really crazy because, again, he does, especially in the novel, he refers himself to the devil. Like, one of my favorite bits, actually, I really wish that they kept it. When he goes to the priest, he actually bursts in and says, "Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste." It is actually kind of crazy when you, like, look at the movie soundtrack and that, Anarchy in the UK or God Save the Queen or Sympathy for the Devil is not among there. However,
Right.
it does close with the Rolling Stones with, what was it? Oh, God, what? Because I hear the tune in my head. Everybody's. What was it? Oh my God, I'm gonna kill myself. I should know this. So, Street Fighting Man. Thank you. Wow. Fucking have to look through my digital note cards. But yeah, here we got the priest here, and this part was just so, because this is exactly verbatim from the novel, where he's like, "There's been a mix-up at the agency, and
Yeah.
I'm afraid she's a bit older than usual," and that just the fact that there's an agency just creates all kinds of horribly
Right.
unethical things.
I love his whole, like, but that's for your grace to decide. Like, his so, like, just deference.
Yeah.
This is
Although
just,
I know. Although I will say this, the casting for the movie was a bit on point because Natalie Portman totally could pull off the look of a 15-year-old girl. No,
well,
I don't.
She's very waifish, so.
Well, yeah, because I remember actually seeing in person her Padme Amidala costume when they did like a Star Wars prop and costume museum tour. And the first thing that I noticed about that particular costume is how fucking small it was.
Right.
Because, like, I forget, she must be like 5 foot even or something. So she's a tiny little thing, and she's already like really skinny and petite. So yeah, I can totally see her pulling off that look.
Yeah.
And can we also talk about that she's actually really good in this movie?
I've always been advocate that Natalie Portman, with a competent director, is a great actress.
Absolutely, dude. Like, because she's appeared in things where you're just like, oh my God, look, like I hate to say it, but like, fucking Thor.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
I know.
Look, let's be realistic. Some of her scenes and stuff in Star Wars are very cringe-inducing.
Well,
and then you go and watch Black Swan, and you're like, oh my God.
Exactly, dude.
Or like Closer. It's like, this girl
Yes.
can knock it out of the park.
When given the right material and the right director. But in here, this is definitely really good. I love this, that he's got a gold-plated gun in the Bible. Yes, that's so good. Although he's discovered pretty much the same way by the eyes and ears of London, the surveillance that they have. Of course, it's a lot less explicit here because, again, I really wish, because again, they kind of imply it like, open your mouth and stick out your tongue. Like, they imply that there's the poison communion wafer, but man, I really wish someone fucking said it. Because it's got such power in that.
I find that moment really odd, though, where they have, like, the body outline there, because usually outlines are used because they're going to move, the body's been moved.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why is it outlined and he's still just sitting there? Like,
again, that's just, stupid movie bullshit. Again, that's why, movies like this are so frustrating. Because there's a lot of talent and a lot of effort and really good ideas being on display here.
Right.
And then they do shit like that, and you're like, dude, come on, man. Standards.
Right.
It's really frustrating. But again, at the end of the day, I actually really like this adaptation. It's actually pretty good.
And so, to be noted, at this point, it's still going along fairly well with what happened in the book. Like, so far as an adaptation,
Pretty much, yeah.
you're still like, all right, like like a few minor changes, but overall, it's heading down the right path.
No fake computer or like weird subplots with like Scottish gangs and whatnot. But so and you because when you like read the novel and you see all these different subplots as a film, why they had to drop that shit and like mix it in with other elements.
Oh yeah,
Like it just there's only so much time you can do. Although I do hear that apparently British TV wants to do an adaptation of a television adaptation of the comic book. So
yeah.
we'll see where that goes. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be different. I don't know. Only time will tell. And so now we get to go into the home of Gordon. Gordon played by Stephen Fry.
Her showing up looking like that, you just gotta be like, after she's been missing for how long, just like, the hell?
Yeah, a little bit strange, but then again, I'm pretty sure Stephen Fry and his character, mostly just Stephen Fry, has seen weirder things.
Oh gosh, yes. I'm pretty sure. I am dead certain Stephen Fry has seen way, way weirder things.
Oh, what a wonderful gentleman. But I do love this whole little secret thing here where he has like the wine cellar that goes into this. And then look at some of this propaganda shit and like that he's got hidden away. The coalition of willing to power. That's fucking freaky. Yeah. That's good shit. And then now this bit right here. So I think the screenwriters were really trying to push away from like racial purity and like the sort of things that you would normally see with fascists, and they really tried to shift it more specifically towards homosexuals and Islamophobia, because that was really big at the time. Because remember, this came out during the Bush administration, so this is like
It's strange that you mentioned that. I actually had an incident last night of religious intolerance that kind of threw me for a loop. And so seeing this with the Quran there, and I just, somebody I know was advocating for basically the terrorists and put up anti-Macron stuff online. And I was just like, I thought you were a really awesome guy, but apparently, like,
nope.
You justify violence in the name of your religion, so now we're not cool.
And blocked.
Yeah, so I was just like, ooh, that got real. So it's it's like you don't want to advocate at all for Islamophobia or fear based on religion, but at the same time, it's
or
like
sexuality.
Oh, for sure. But you're in this really weird area where you're like, I don't want to persecute anyone for their religion. However, your religion does not get to trump free speech. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And he like Stephen Fry's character, Diedrich.
Sorry.
He puts it perfectly.
I just love this scene. Like just a small character, actor supporting part, but man, her facial expression, her delivery, the instant recognition.
I know, right?
She just kills it.
The look behind her eyes, man. Because again, really, really good casting and really good directing. Like, look at her performance just in the background.
Yeah.
Like it's that because
she knows what's coming, and unlike the other, like she has the awareness. It's just outstanding.
Yeah, I almost wish though that in that last scene they didn't cut back to her close up and they just kept her in the background, but with the same performance,
yeah.
Like, I think that would have made it a little bit better. A little minor nitpick. But yeah, like I was saying, is like the most beautiful line I think in the movie is when he looks at the Quran and he says, "Are you Muslim? I don't have to be Muslim to, find the poetry moving or its images beautiful."
Right, and I think that's the whole thing. Like, there's there's wonderful things in every religion, whether you're studying it for belief or just for the artistic
Absolutely.
historical like significance.
As humanity, I mean, that's how religion is born. First it's kind of rooted in history, then it becomes. It's the Lord of the Rings chronology, as I like to put it. History becomes legend, legend becomes myth, and then myth, if it sustains and if there's like a long enough following and it's powerful enough, myth becomes religion. You know,
You're not wrong.
exactly. So that's just our human way of trying to process the insanity of the world. And
Yeah.
I totally am okay with people using religion to process things. I'm just not okay with them using it in ways that tear down, people or ideas.
Yeah, or incite violence against each other.
Oh, absolutely. Because Werner Herzog was always fond of saying that the universe is based in chaos and disorder. And I'm thinking, well, if that's true, then if our humanity is to attempt to find order and meaning and reason, then we are but defiant lights in the darkness of the universe. Wow, we got really philosophical and off point. But yeah, so I talked about how like V needs to do more ironic deaths with the people who wronged him. This is kind of the closest that it comes, because he uses a syringe to kill her. But I find it really weird that he kind of sort of forgives her. Like, there's no pain, there's no nothing, and because I maybe it's because in this version they made her very sorrowful and very remorseful for her actions at Larkhill.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, would the lead doctor of human experimentation really be that remorseful? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a line, and there's always kind of that.
It's performed brilliantly though.
It
Because
is.
This scene is really good. It's just I don't know if it's the right tone.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a problem with it, and because of that, let me explain. Yes, she still has to pay for her actions.
Yes.
Like, I don't have a problem with V doing what he does, because like she still has to pay for the atrocities she committed.
Absolutely.
However, if you committed atrocities, became remorseful, and went on to try and do better things, you still have to pay for it. But I don't have a problem with him being merciful in his methods.
Yeah.
Because he's going to serve justice, but he's doing it mercifully because of what she then tried to do.
Yeah, it's definitely makes sense and is really beautifully done in the context of the movie. But when you really look at the broad picture, and especially what Alan Moore was trying to do, yeah, because like I don't think any of those Nazi doctors in Auschwitz had any regrets.
No,
like that,
not in the least.
So, it feels a little off-putting. And speaking of off-putting, the way they punch in on John Hurt's mouth, is. And I swear to God, John Hurt almost never blinks when he's really unnerving. But I also want to know, is he like looking into like, because he's literally looking right into a camera. Can he see them at all? Because I'm curious. Because I know we have Skype calls to record these sessions. I'm always kind of looking at you on the screen and not you into the lens.
Oh yeah.
It's weird. I guess that's honestly just a movie thing to make it more coherent, because as Walter Murch said, editing and photography in motion picture really is just a dance of eyes.
Oh yeah.
Ugh, God. There she is. I guess that's really the only way they could get away with like saying that this is a fascist regime because I forget they never really go into the reasons for experimentation in the movie, do they?
Not a whole lot.
I think it might be the reason why they're, or actually, I think they do, because I think they're test subjects to unleash the virus on.
Mm.
I think that's how it's tied in. I forget if that's overtly explicit. That's the reason why, because in the books they're like, oh yeah, this is totally for racial purity and whatnot. We're totally riffing on the Nazi doctors. Oh, so this shot I thought was a really cool behind the scenes story. So, the character of V who emerges from the shadows there, that's actually Chad Stahelski, Keanu Reeves' stunt double for The Matrix and director of John Wick. But he was wearing nothing except for a shitload of fireproof gels and a fucking thong,
Well,
which I thought was like, god damn, that just saying that is such a more interesting image than the image that's put on screen.
yeah.
Like, I don't want to take away from the power of the moment of V literally being reborn from the flames or anything, but it's just really fucking funny to say the director of John Wick, covered in fireproof gel, wearing nothing but a thong. That's infinitely more funny than it should be.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I do like what the filmmakers were doing here, where they were trying to draw parallels between V and Gordon. Same song, same breakfast, secret underground lair. They were almost trying to create a red herring, even though, like, as the novel readers are like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell? What the hell kind of flex is this?
I love I didn't realize it till now because I haven't watched it, but it's like, oh, an inversion stove. How awful.
Although I do like that he still gives it that dry British humor to it. I am the
Right.
troll. But yeah, it's a weird flex, but I guess it's them trying to do more thematic parallels, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so this is the moment where the inspector just goes full Charlie Day in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Because I see these chain of events.
I don't know, and I will say this, like, at this point, I'm not, like, this is where it starts to get more muddled for me. Like, I can't say this is where it's fully gone off the rails, but it's definitely starting to get to that point where it's like, all right, like, this isn't quite, it's like where the police officer is, like, this fits more with the book, but, we're only an hour in, and we're just like, okay, where the plot starts to go here is just very off the rails from where the book was.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this...
No, go ahead.
I was like, I don't know if... I can't say that this is, like, the defining moment, but, like, I definitely know, like, this is starting to feel more like that. I mean, not to say that they don't keep elements in, but it's just definitely more of that vibe.
Yeah, because Detective Finch in the novel is a lot... everyone is pretty much ambiguously in their morality in the novel. Like, it's like when he, when he mentions, like, he went to Lark Hill later on, he actually, in the novel, he literally just takes a bunch of LSD, trips balls to try to figure out what the hell to go.
He gets special permission to take LSD and trip balls and figure it out.
Yeah, because he was, like, trying to, like, seep himself into the quote unquote terrorists, or whatever you want to call it. Again, labels to make it too simple, but he was trying to put himself in V's shoes by re-experiencing the night, his time at Lark Hill and his escape so that way he could predict where the hell he would go. And of course, being, you know, a fucking British novel, it works.
Right.
You know, actually, I remember that speech about, you know, how the government might have been responsible for one of the most devastating disasters we've had in the last couple of years. I didn't read that at the time, but I feel like that in the, you know, in terms of the writing of this movie, that was born out of the whole 9/11 was an inside job. You know?
Yeah, I mean, a possibility. However, man, given the pandemic we're dealing with here, like, if your government was responsible for the death of 100,000 people, would you want to know? It's like, well, we know more.
We know that it's actually double that.
Right.
As of this recording, it's like what, over almost 2,200,000 people.
Oh gosh, this
Oh,
I
this
love
sequence.
This is so not from the book, but it's such a great little gem
you know,
of a moment.
yeah, exactly. Like it, you know, it doesn't. Look, it's not exactly consistent. It's nowhere in the novels. It's really stupid and silly, but for some fucking reason it works. But I credit that a lot to Stephen Fry.
Yeah.
And I also love the fact that, quote, the I also love that they have like an actor that's supposed to be Adam Sutler in on this, but they just got fucking John Hurt to play the role.
Well,
I
right.
guess
Why
that,
wouldn't
like,
you?
I guess
They
like,
have
you know,
John Hurt. John Hurt can do it.
Well, I'm just guessing, you know, John Hurt really wanted to do it, and they didn't want to have like a stand-in actor because, you know, it's a lot cheaper anyway for the filmmakers. But I just love the idea that, you know, the Parliament is so tightly wound that they have a doppelganger actor to play him for skits like this.
Right.
Tying his shoes. This is some shit that I feel like, you know, someone like Stephen Colbert would do.
Oh, yeah, it's... Or John Oliver.
John Oliver, too. Yeah, totally. Yeah, look, dude, seriously, look in the background. There's dudes with a guitar, and there's like a piano guy. Why wasn't Hugh Laurie given a cameo?
Right. And then you have the Benny Hill song.
Oh, I know, right? Again, this should not fit. This should not fit. This should not work. But fuck, it does. They even got the stupid man in a gorilla for no reason. All the stupid cartoonist sound effects, too. Love it. And, of course, this is a great little reveal. Just within the context of the world. That's actually pretty funny. Boy, this is probably the first legitimate laugh that these people have gotten out of their nightly talk show. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Green screen! Oh, boy. And then, of course, we have this really great shot here with sipping his milk. Yikes. Okay, first off, his hand strength for a guy his age is phenomenal.
Right?
Second, someone get him a doctor because his hand is going to be sliced the fuck up.
Yep.
It's actually kind of amazing. Like, you don't see you. Well, I guess, you know, because his face is so fucking close to the camera in his conference rooms that you don't have to put a bandage over his hand.
Yeah.
Although, wait, no, I think he appears on TV to be like, anyone caught outside with a mask will be faced with charges without leniency or exception. Like, I mean, I bet if you look at his hand, no bandage. WTF, writers. And we got another parallel bit here.
Yep.
Apparently, Stephen Fry was really excited to film this sequence. He's like, what was the scene you were most excited about? Oh, getting my ass kicked. That's never happened to me in a movie before. I can't wait. Oh, man. I'm actually kind of shocked that they didn't find her under there. Because look, like last time they established that she made a noise and they caught her and detained her.
Right, but if you think about the last time, she was under a bed in a little kid's room where her mom was in.
Yeah.
She's under a bed in a room where nobody knows she is, in a house where a man is supposed to be living alone.
Okay, that's fair. And she's small enough to actually like make sure she isn't like like a toe isn't popping out or anything.
Right, like I'm more confused why she would try to run like in that level of immediacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait till they calm down. Like they clearly already left that room. They have who they want. How persnickety do you think they're going to be?
Good point. After all, they didn't even know she was supposed to be there, but
Exactly.
V did. And actually, if you look really closely, the quote unquote Northfire guard that trooper that grabbed her it was burnt,
Oh yeah.
which I thought was really cool. Because this is also straight out of the novel, although it was for an entirely different reason.
Yes.
Because she shacked up with Gordon, who was an older gentleman. Like, they totally, like, had sex and everything. Like, they were totally lovers. But he got killed in a gang war by some Scottish gang member. And after that, she's like, fuck everything. I hate this. And I'm going to go take revenge after those gang leaders who fucked me and the government. Because fuck everything. And before she can do anything, she's captured and... And we don't know, obviously we don't know it's V or anything, but...
So, interestingly, Natalie was actually really psyched to have her head shaved like this.
Oh, yeah, I know.
She,
It's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, she had kind of wanted to do it for a long time, but, like, was a little afraid to, so she was kind of really happy that she had a role that, like, gave her the justification to just go and do it, which I thought was great.
When they were shaving her head on camera, that was actually her hair getting shaved off. But yeah, it's like, oh, that's awesome. And can you imagine, like, during these scenes where she's getting tortured and shit, where she's just like crying and screaming and oh my god, and then literally they say cut, she's like, yay. Because and actually I am one who does recommend everyone, and I mean everyone, at least at some point in their life, shave their head. Because it's especially I recommend during the summer, because I'll tell you what, it feels awesome. It's something I feel like everyone should try out. But yeah, because I especially feel that as an actress, because as an actor, your body is key to presentation for any role that you take.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the overhead shots, especially the way that they characterize her getting her food. Like, it's just thrown in and, like, it just seeps onto the floor. Nasty-ass rats running around. God. I'll tell you what, that's kind of how we all must have felt when quarantine was at its peak.
Yeah, not far off.
No. Again, that's not what we actually... That's just how we've been feeling. Quarantine blues. It's still going on, I can't believe. And then, of course, we have the letter, which I'm so glad that they really didn't change a whole lot from the novel, because that was one of the more beautiful things that was written. Now, I don't know about you, because I had a couple of friends who took a couple of homosexuality in cinema classes in college. I didn't take one myself. Kind of wish that I did. But would you call, like, this sequence in particular one of the most pro-gay things you've seen in cinema? Because you might have a better understanding of, homosexuality in representation in cinema than I do. Because there's still quite a few that I haven't seen.
Maybe like, at the time, I would say that to an extent, but
more I mean, this was in the context of the time.
Well, right, but at the same time, this was like post. Gosh, I'm probably gonna butcher this name, but I want to say it's like something like The Incredible Story of Two Women in Love or Two Girls in Love.
Yeah.
So it's like
Or
there had right, but it's like there had been movies that tried to tackle it in a very realistic, mature way.
mhm.
So yes, for a sequence in a mainstream release, I think this handled it quite well. But I think there was a lot more independent cinema that had been done by this point that
Yeah.
was much better representation. But if we're
Yes.
talking for a mainstream blockbuster, this is definitely a notable sequence.
Absolutely. Yeah, cuz I know there's been a lot of independent cinema about this sort of thing. Again, I really wish I had seen more. Like if y'all want like us to do some of that cinema, like do a commentary of it, please let us know. I mean, we'd be happy to tackle that one of these days. But yeah, I just never really got a whole lot of them. I know I have a few that are on my list, like But I'm a Cheerleader, Boys Who Cry. Um, oh God, there's so many others I just can't think of them off the top of my head. I need to one of these days, but I think Stephen Fry. This sequence is one of the main reasons why Stephen Fry took the job, and why he explicitly wanted Gordon to be a gay character,
Mm-hmm.
just like
But
him.
yeah, so the movie I was thinking of, The Incredible True Adventure of Two Girls in Love. This so there was a lot of this stuff coming out in the mid '90s that had really good representation.
Yes.
And also think about it, Philadelphia was in there at that same time too.
Thank you. Yes.
So
Okay.
I think again, as far as like a mainstream blockbuster that was like tailored to broader general audiences and not specifically towards covering that community, I think this is a great representation.
Yes.
But there's obviously so much better cinema out there that what is designed to be like, no, we are here and we have stories and we are valid.
Yes. Well, and in this movie's like minor defense, this sequence really isn't the forefront. Homosexuality is not the key. It's really more about a much broader stroke in revolution.
Right.
This shot right here, I swear, if you look closely, you can see Hugh Jackman or Hugo Weaving's face. Because I know because that's where you're like, oh my God, he really was present for it, which is kind of awesome. I guess he was wearing like his Agent Smith costume with gloves. But yeah, again, this sequence isn't the main focus, so therefore it's fine. But it's the fact that they portray it in this way is wonderful.
Yeah.
And it also helps that the Wachowskis themselves are transgender.
Right.
Oh my God, this whole story is heartbreaking. I love this shot where she barely flinches. Like she just knows.
Yeah.
And again, more parallel imagery. I do want to know where she got her pencil. I guess she swiped it off a desk in the middle of the examinations, because I know it's supposed to be written on toilet paper.
Yeah.
Ugh. My heart. My heart. It's moments like this where we just have to stop the commentary and just appreciate what's written there.
I mean, it's a beautiful story.
It is. It's so well written, and they really didn't change a whole lot from the novel.
No.
And I will say this, boy, it really does harden Evie into the badass bitch that she becomes for the rest of the movie. Because when they lift that bag off her face, not an inch of her face moved.
Yeah.
She is just ready. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm really loving how visually they made her interrogator's silhouette look like Creedy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like even to the person that has never seen or read the novel and know nothing about it, they were like, "Is that actually Creedy?" Oh. Yeah, seriously, if you look at that facial or that silhouette, you can totally see that it's Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
And evidently I haven't actually spotted it myself. Like I went to go back to rewind the movie. But apparently the only time that Hugo Weaving actually shows his face at the movie is at the very end where everyone takes off their mask as Parliament gets blown up and whatnot. I looked and looked and looked, but apparently someone said that Hugo Weaving's face is in the crowd somewhere when everyone takes off their masks. So that's where the one time where V shows his face. But yeah, apparently I haven't spotted it myself, but any of you out there want to just like send like a screenshot with a circle, cool by me. Also love that the guard's a mannequin Skywalker, if you will.
No. No.
Well, it is Natalie Portman, dude. So, well, I guess
Just think of that. Think of that Bugs Bunny. No.
You know what? In essence, I will at least submit to you that her interaction with that mannequin is infinitely more interesting than her interaction with Hayden Christensen with the "I don't like sand. It's rough."
Agreed.
Although I still say that Hayden Christensen, that's not his fault at all. That's totally the writing. No blame on him whatsoever. I think he's great as Anakin. But yeah, this is kind of a really big ass reveal, and I really wish that it wasn't so downplayed in here a little bit. It actually kind of feels a little downplayed when you look at the novel, because when she comes out, he's like, "You did this to me? Why?" Yeah. "Because I love you. I tortured you and abused you to set you, and put you in a cage to set you free." Lot of hypocritical ideology going on with not just V, but also Adam Susan and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm curious. Do you agree with V's methods here?
I don't know.
I know, right? I don't know either, because at the end of the day, he did the job that needed to be done for her to move on and for her to quell her fear. But holy fuck, that is a fucked up way to do it. That really, at the end of the day, doesn't make sense. Jesus.
Right?
Yeah, man, I totally forgot how good Natalie Portman is here. You know what just hit me right now? It's that, for all the flaws and all the things that they changed around for this movie, because again, we talked about how Alan Moore was really pissed off about how it's no
Hmm.
longer a thing between anarchy and fascism. It's more about, neoconservatism versus liberalism.
Right.
And you know what? I'm okay with that because it might not. Because look, we might. Yes, the fact that remains that it isn't it's no longer about the things that you wrote about, but those things that you originally wrote about aren't really what we need. It needs more.
Well,
We
I don't.
need
But that's it. I don't know if that was true at the time versus what it's true now.
maybe, but I think for some reason, you know, it's not the story. It's the whole Dark Knight thing where it's not the story we deserved or anything, but it is the one that we need.
Yeah.
And I do like this. One's reborn out of fire, one's reborn out of rain. Yep. But yeah, that's like the thing that I take away from all this. Despite the fact that it is radically different in both terms of the plot and in some of its ideas, this movie provided some of the things that we, especially here in America, some of the things that we needed to address for ourselves and for those around us. You know,
Yeah.
like again, it's not perfect. It's not. Um, it is. It's weirdly its own thing, but not really. And I don't know. I forgive me. I am absolutely atrocious with trying to verbally express my ideas.
You're all right.
I'm well, it's also directed toward, all you guys listening out there. But I guess that is probably the best compliment I can give this movie is that yeah, despite all the changes and despite all the weird things that they do and some of the plot holes that they have, ultimately the ideas that this film specifically represents, it's ideas that we need to hear and that we need to talk about. I do like this where
Mm-hmm.
he actually has like a little shrine and her rose is growing. Revenge! Revenge! She's got a point. She really does. That's like literally the whole point of V for Vendetta is that um, do we prefer the monsters that rule over us or the ones that want to destroy them?
Well, right, but then it becomes a difficult question of those. Like, yeah, but the monsters who ruled over us created the monsters who wanted to destroy them. It's like, how harshly can you judge that monster when it was clearly created by that system?
We're all monsters. That's one of the most poignant thing about, say, like the Witcher. Man is the real monster all along.
True.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Or should I say Satan away? It's I always forget where exactly Evie goes in the movie because, in the film, she gets kicked out at one point. Then when she finds this reveal, she just fucks off because she's pissed off again.
Right.
But I'm like, where the hell do you constantly go? Now you mentioned how, like, how an entire country could. I mean, it's logistic to see how that could
Yeah.
be pulled back then when this was made. Before the internet really
Hmm.
became the internet what it is now. Back when it was
I
cool.
I can tell you, by the way, for a fact at this moment,
Yeah.
that like from here on out, it's off the rails for sure. Like this is no longer book V for Vendetta.
Okay. Well, I mean, it lasted. Where are we? We are at exactly an hour and 30 minutes.
Right. And well,
So
as I said earlier, there's a point where it's like, okay, this is starting to not be it. This is now the point where it's like, it is for sure no longer it.
okay. So well, I guess it held up a little bit better than I thought. Because I was expecting like the first half, hey, pretty good, and then wait, what? But no,
Yeah.
it's like there was like a seed planted halfway through, and then 3/4 of the way through, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
The more you tighten your grip, the more of it will slip through your fingers. This really is Fox News to a T. Exactly. But yeah, you mentioned like how the people are willing to go like a full year for this sort of thing. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously that was possible back in the early days of the internet. Not now, not so much. But yeah, it's actually kind of fun. For all that, despite all that, this movie still kind of gets me off in the same way that I do when I watch the show, The Boys. Is that just a bunch of like a small ragtag group of people is just fighting fascists underground and making them look like idiots.
Right.
I just get off to that, especially these days.
Right. Well, what I also find most interesting when you actually look at things from a historical perspective,
Yeah.
and you know, England's relationship with fascism is actually quite interesting because one of the reasons they didn't really have a nationalistic rise in England at the time when Germany and Italy and Spain and these other countries in Europe were having it, because there were definitely right wing nationalistic people
Hmm.
and political elements in England. They never got a foothold because every time they would show up to speak, literally the opponents would show up, wreck the stages, and beat them. Like they literally did not give them a voice. So like England was like the most anti-fascist screw you country, which is one of the reasons I always love V for Vendetta because it's like, hey, what happens when they get so scared they actually embrace that which they once destroyed?
Well, that see, this is why, like I said, I was my British history is kind of rusty, but man, when you put it in that perspective, wow, V for Vendetta, the book gets so much better because it's literally the last thing that they would reach for. I mean, look at this shit. That is like straight up triumph of the will. Although nowadays, like the only thing missing is a bunch of people in hats right behind them. Now, I do like this whole montage and how it actually paints the full story of this world that we live in.
Yeah. It really gives you the backstory of like this is why all these people were doing these awful things.
Yeah, and me as a nerd, I'm like, yippee, exposition! Yeah, okay, so I was right. So that they were explicitly experimenting on them to create that
Yeah.
virus. Oh, I love that shot. Oh yeah, that's so with the St. Mary's, the kids.
Yeah.
Um, I actually really thought the design of their memorial, where they're playing Ring Around the Rosie,
Yeah.
that's actually really poignant because
Oh yeah.
the history behind Ring
Oh
Around the Rosie,
yes.
like how it's fucking dark, man. All the like it's crazy, like all the shit that all the lullabies and baby shit that we grew up on. When we look at it as adults, it's like, wow, what the fuck?
Hmm.
Yep. I also believe that the movie also tried to pull into that whole Islamophobia thing by having those extremists be like Muslim religious
Yeah.
extremists or whatnot, because that's just that's just how you demonize your enemy. You're not, or at least the guy that he's playing is.
Right.
Because I think that now this is pretty much the point where it just goes off the rails with the alternate history that they're presenting here.
Hmm.
Okay, because that makes a lot of sense. Because I'm like, yeah, this is the point where they're like, oh, all that nuclear fallout, America's war. That's not really important. This whole pharmaceutical scam
Yeah.
thing, and you're like, oh, okay. Honestly, though, I'm still totally okay with it, just because again, it's really well told and really well executed too, if I might add. Oh, and I thought part was really cool. So, um, I remember that when he kills the priest, he actually has Beethoven's Fifth play,
Hmm.
but here it gets to be played here. Yeah, creepy, creedy, good shit. But I do like the poetry and using Beethoven's Fifth, the man from Room 5, and plus the iconic dun 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 dun. This is actually really clever, where he plays into the whole intelligence of his enemy.
Hmm.
Because again, the script here really works, I think, for the most part. Because like the only things that I kind of question is where the hell did he get the tech for some of his stuff? Where did he get all his shit from the Shadow Gallery? Um, how the hell did he manage to ship out costumes for literally the entire country?
Well, but again, we talked about the fact that they don't really give a time frame from his escape to his point of action.
Yep,
And they
yep.
do establish that he Robin Hood. So how much stealing and robbing do you have to do to get yourself enough resources to pull this off?
I guess it's just the costumes for the entire country kind of bug me because like someone's bound to notice that. you
But
know
again, what if he started doing it years ago and brought them in slowly over time?
that's also a possibility, and just put it on to and just fucked with the cargo manifest. That's
Yeah.
possible.
Not even having to mess with the manifest. You're bringing in a crate here or there over a course of years. Who's going to pay that much attention?
Yep. Now I forget what the film that she was watching. Wasn't that the Count of Monte Cristo?
I think so. It was definitely the film he was watching earlier in the movie as well.
Okay, yeah. In which makes total sense because Prison Break plus Revenge.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good shit. Oh shit. Duh, shit. Well, guess what? That bullshit is actually kind of on point. That narrative
Hmm.
adds up.
That's kind of the whole thing, is that.
Yep. I do like this whole thing right here. The V over the
Hmm.
poster. You know, that's the I know it's like really little, but I kind of wish that she took the paint can and
Yeah,
finalized it and
yeah,
not just walked away. That's so weird that they didn't use that cuz it's such an
I agree.
obvious dramatic beat to work.
But I think they kind of wanted to keep the ambiguity of what her position towards him was at that point.
Well, if they're going to do that, then just cut away before she walks away, you know, cuz she
Yeah,
clearly stepped off. Which I'm like, look, like if they want to keep it ambiguous, fine, they can cut off, but don't show her walking away.
yeah, I agree.
Now, this sequence, like again, as good as these are, do you know how much more amazing this sequence would be if it was actually set to Sex Pistols, right?
I
Because
mean, I laughed to a point. However, at, at the same time, um, I don't know, like with where Johnny Rotten has become in culture and
okay,
history,
that's yeah, yeah.
like maybe don't use that.
Well, I mean, they flat out say it: anarchy in the UK. Like,
Right,
you,
but I don't know, like maybe go with a different Brit. Like, you know what, White Riot would have been great.
hey, there you go. That would have been good.
It's like, let's throw the Clash in there. That'll work.
Oh yeah, the fucking Clash. That'll do. Fuck yeah,
Right,
dude.
White Riot by the Clash. I want a
Yeah.
riot of my own.
Hell yeah, dude! Like that would have been good. Like, have why couldn't there have been more like British protest punk rock in here? Because
Yeah,
they have a little bit of it, but not nearly enough. Like this movie really could have benefited from some more rock and roll. I don't want to criticize the score or anything because I mean it works and it's fine, but goddamn, and plus you could imagine how they could really edit the beats with it too,
yeah,
especially in shots like this where they have like all this stuff where you can kind of see everything at once. And I also love that they actually show shit that happens in the future.
yeah.
Love that editing montage. And then of course the because again when they try to do all these parallel events, it really rings true when they edit it together for this kind of montage.
Yeah.
I remember thinking of that line a lot in the
Oh
past
yeah.
few years. There's a lot of chaos going around, and in so much chaos, someone's going to do something stupid, and when that happens, things will get turned really nasty. And I hate to say it, but I think we've seen that quite a bit in the last couple of years.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You have a gun that doesn't have enough bullets for the mob attacking you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
idiots.
What are you going to do? Arrest the entire country?
Exactly.
Now, this is cool. Okay, first off, brilliant idea as a motif to use dominoes falling.
Oh yeah.
But this sequence, holy shit! Apparently, like this is like a ridiculous setup for dominoes. Like in terms of construction, I think it
Hmm.
took like domino experts like 200 plus man hours to get this to get that set up, and you can only imagine how many fucking takes it must have gotten to get that right, or
Yeah.
just like all the camera angles to cover
Oh
all
yeah.
that.
There was a lot of that. I can't remember exactly, but I did read about it. It was just like, yeah, the amount that they had to do with With
It
the
looks so fucking
yeah,
cool,
200 hours of setup, 22,000 dominoes.
Fuck, that's. But the cool thing is, like, the fact that it's in camera and it looks that fucking cool.
Right?
Oh, you know what would have been amazing to add a little bit more poetry to that? It's been a long project for him, and each one of those dominoes is a day after is a day that he's lived under he's been oppressed by that sort of thing. Like it's like a each day, it's one for each day that he's fought against these people or has been subjugated by these people. Like that would have been an amazing extra level of poetry to it. For one final dance. And I actually do like that line that he rocks, the whole what's a revolution without dancing?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, they do only just kind of hint at it, their romance and relationship and whatnot. Because as a fan of the original novel, I don't know how you're feeling about that. Because I'm still trying to get into your mindset when you were first watching this, like way back in the day.
I mean, it's, as I said, like I just love the book, and then I'm watching this movie that starts following the book, and then just kind of goes off the rails, and you're just like, what? Why? But at the same time, the realization, had they kept along with the book and the way the movie did, this movie would have been 3.5 hours.
Probably. And it's really strange because we actually got like a 3.5 hour version of Watchmen. Why couldn't we have a 3.5 hour version of V for Vendetta?
Yeah, but at the same time, V for Vendetta is a book about half the length of Watchmen, and yet it would have taken a 3.5 hour adaptation to do it right.
Very true.
Which means, what would you have needed to actually do Watchmen perfectly right?
Actually, to do it perfectly right, probably as a 12 episode miniseries.
Yeah.
That probably would have been best. Boy, doesn't this sound familiar? It only sounds like fucking June. Highly unlikely. You guys are shaking in your little boots. God damn. Oh wow, I didn't even know he had a disco ball in there. Well, can you imagine fucking V just like, one night just slapping on Staying Alive by the Bee Gees on his jukebox and just start going full John Travolta under that thing.
Well, what I think is even funnier though is, imagine that he couldn't find one. Just imagine him sitting there for hours on end, just gluing mirror pieces on a ball,
and
just
then
making his own.
And then he can do like a mashup of Risky Business and Saturday Night Live, where he just plays fucking Staying Alive and then slides in wearing nothing except, like, it's just his burnt body wearing a pair of tidy whities and socks, but he keeps the mask and the wig on. And he starts disco dancing in a way that would put John Travolta to shame. Someone make that a parody somewhere. That would be that'd be an amazing outtake.
It might exist.
I doubt it.
A parody, I mean, might exist.
A parody, maybe. And if it doesn't, go make it. Whoever's listening, make that a thing. Because I want to see something stupid and ridiculous like that. I live for the stupid and ridiculous. If anything, just make a meme of it. be one of those things that you find on like mysterious content or important images. So yeah, the detectives, they managed to more logically deduce where the Shadow Gallery might be, or where um, what V's plan is to be. They're more logical. I actually kind of miss that element where he just trips balls to figure out where the hell he is, and then he literally confronts him in the Shadow Gallery and mortally
Right.
wounds him. Train full of explosives to go under Parliament. Yep. I'm actually kind of shocked that they didn't, have, V die early on before his plan could be really, like, he dies right around the time where his plan is pretty much done at whatnot. Like, he's done what
Yeah.
he's needed to. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't go with the whole thing that, he's discovered early, he dies, and then Evie takes over his role.
Yeah.
It's weird that they didn't use that because they still give the whole speech about how V is more than just a human. He's more than a man. He's an idea, and like they say that, but they don't really do it. Is that weird for you?
I mean, a little bit, but again, as I said, like once the movie kind of goes off the rails for me, I just end up in this very position of like, why?
You're more questioning why we're here as to what should they be doing.
Yes, because
Well,
like
what?
because I have a whole thing for what they should be doing, which is go look at the book, you idiots. Like, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with some subplots are gonna have to be removed. You can't do all that. Like, okay, I get it, but like it just goes to take such a left turn for me, and it, it starts feeling, as you were kind of saying, like of its time, of when
Yeah.
this movie came out, of when it was made. And I just felt that the book was much more of a timeless story, which is important because when you tell a story like that has this timeless feel that could be occurring at any point in time, that's going to stand the test of time better, and that will age well.
Yes. Yes. I mean,
Whereas this, I'm just like, ooh, ooh.
that was a cool reveal. I like that a lot. Um, but yeah, you're totally right. I mean, technically, the original novel takes place in like 97, 98. But literally, that could be happening. They could literally change the year to be like the movie is and be like
Yeah.
2027. Wouldn't make a fucking difference.
Nope.
Because you're right. Like, especially movies that tie in with like ideas of revolution uh, and idealisms that transcend the thing of time, they should be in a timeless sense. Because this really is like should be in like a near distant future, to be that cautionary
Yeah.
tale that it is.
And my whole thing is like, I just don't. It didn't track for me that V would settle for the Chancellor, allow the grander plan to somebody else, and let Creevy go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, I'm like, nah, he'd have murdered Creevy. Or Creevy, whatever.
Yeah, creepy Creedy.
Yeah, it's like, he'd. I don't see that. Like, it's like, I don't see him making this play as he did.
I mean, granted, he does plan to basically betray him after Sutler's gone.
I mean, yeah, but, it's like, he's the kind of person, like, he knows who he's dealing with, and so he'd planned it, but I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't track for me. Him putting himself intentionally in a lose-lose scenario, like in a scenario where he knows he's going to die, that doesn't track with the book character for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, because like I said, he is not an anarchist in this movie. He is a freedom fighter. And usually in these types of dystopian movies, the freedom fighters often become martyred for their...
Right, and that's just it. That's where it's like, it's a huge departure for me. That doesn't track with the V I know, and that they start, in my mind, with the first half of the movie, which is the book V. So, I was just like, eh.
Yeah. And again, if you're okay with the fact that you're accepting the fact that this is basically a freedom fighter story and not an anarchy v fascist story, then yeah, this movie's perfectly acceptable. And plus the other thing I think that was crucial about this bit was that for all the talk, and you're like, dude, like I feel like. Not just the producers, but also like the exec producers, the ones that are going to release the movie and have box office expectations for it. They're going to be like, where's the fucking superhero fight? Well, this is it. Because now we have to, get some more conventional stuff here. But I do like the fact when he...
I mean, you just literally saw him get shot that many times, and it's just like... I understand that, he's overpowered in the book, but you don't ever get the sense that, he's invulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they do play with that because there's, like, supposed to be, a fucking bulletproof vest and whatnot that gets shredded. But I do like the photography of this shit here. And I also...
Yeah, I mean, the visual elements here are wonderful.
Oh, yeah,
I will not argue that.
Ah, so wonderful. Ooh, it's the gore. But something I really did... that his threat, though, was really fucking good, though. Like, you don't have guns, you just have bullets. And when you're empty, you'll all be dead before you can reload. And, of course, this wonderful line. And ideas are bulletproof.
When you've been shot that many times, I don't think you still have the strength in your body to choke someone out. Just saying.
Yeah. But it is so fucking cool, though. Also love this shot where they kind of distort the image, like he's starting to lose it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you see the blood. Like, clearly this did not work. And that's just it. When you saw him shot, you saw blood spray from the back of the bullet. So some had gone clear through. Like, he had gotten jacked up.
But yeah, he probably wouldn't have had the full strength to choke someone out like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, just because of like the fact that he delivers on his threats so in such a badass way, you're willing to forgive that kind of shit.
I do not, by any means hate this movie. It's just like this last 45 minutes to me is just like, what happened? You were doing so good.
Well, again, it's because, like I said, this movie is not about fascism v anarchy. It's about freedom fighters against fascists.
Well, maybe it's
liberal.
Be.
Well,
maybe it should be.
Maybe, I don't know, like, because maybe that's what the TV show is going to be for. It's actually going to be about fascists v anarchy instead of fascism v liberalism.
But see, I don't know if that's it. I've never really seen much of an incident where, like, mainstream production companies want to make anything for commercial consumption that is full on in favor of anarchy.
Oh, exactly. That's probably the reason why.
So when you're saying, maybe the TV show, and I'm just like, I'm not holding my breath.
Well, I mean, it is going to be Britain produced, so maybe, because I have no idea how they might feel. But
I will say I do like the idea at least of like the version of a Viking funeral here.
oh yeah, I do like that a lot, especially how beautifully displayed he is with the roses and all that.
Yeah.
But this is a really cool shot here. This is the actual locations, like 10 Downton Street. They actually photographed all these large scenes on location, which has never been done before. They actually were able to shoot for like 3 minutes at a time to close down things, and security was ridiculously tight. Because
Oh yeah, like everyone who had a weapon, it had a barcode on it, and they had to get background checks to have them for that filming.
yep,
It's
it
ridiculous.
was nuts. But number 10, as they call it in the UK, that's they actually were supposed to blow that up at the end of the novel. They were saving that for last because that's where they have all the cabinet meetings and all that shit. But it's not quite as big or as iconic to Americans as Parliament or Big Ben. You know. Actually, I don't think even. I mean, 10 Downing Street is represented here with on the streets, but they never actually mention it in the movie, do they? Oh, it's so cool. They're all just passing by peacefully. Excuse me, coming through. Oh, that's a cool shot.
Well, I mean, you really don't. I mean, showing an SS equivalent squad getting taken out is very different than showing, oh look, it's a soldier getting taken out. Like,
Yeah,
very much of the Bush era. Like, we don't like the war, but we're not going to hate our soldiers. Like,
exactly. You're probably, yeah, truth be told, if this really wanted to stay in spirit with the novel, those fucking soldiers would be beaten the hell out of.
yup.
Because these people would be so not in for it. And besides, like, even if, like, the majority of them were going to be peaceful, there's going to be that one dumb idiot out
Oh,
there
yeah.
that just, cracks one in the skull, and then, the officer, defending his buddy, shoots the guy, and then it just becomes full-on anarchy.
Oh, yeah.
Music's back. Wow. I wonder if they actually played the music with all these extras here. Kablooey! You also gotta love how they time the explosives to the music. But then again, I guess if they can do it for the 4th of July with their fireworks shows, V
Yeah.
could probably figure out a way here too. Although you know what would have been more poetic for him to blow up Parliament at exactly 11:05, because not only is it November the 5th, but if you look at how a clock hands would be, it would form the shape
Yeah.
of a letter V. I'm really disappointed that Natalie Portman didn't get to wear the mask. Because if you look here, like in this next shot coming up, literally everyone else gets to wear the mask.
Right.
Literally everyone. And I don't know if he's in there, but someone said out there that Hugo Weaving's in the crowd there. I looked at it, I couldn't find it, but I do like how you see all the people who've apparently died in the movie come back,
Yeah.
which I think is a really wonderful visual idea. The people, even though they're gone, they're still there in spirit. The only thing that's literally missing, at least according to what I know about Guy Fawkes night festivals, literally is a giant mannequin of V burning. That's no, really, like, because they'll have like a giant. It's sort of like Burning Man, where they'll have like a giant thing of Guy Fawkes that they'll burn.
No,
And it's
yeah, I know
by...
they burn an effigy. I'm well aware.
Yeah,
I was kind of chuckling, but like, I don't know that that's. I mean, that's just it. Like, he picks that day because he's like, no, he was right, not because he wanted to martyrdom himself. So
yeah, yeah. Bring out some Rolling Stones, because man, how much more would this movie have benefited with some more British rock and roll?
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. It's the whole thing's complicated.
It really is. I mean,
you know, cause as I said, like, I mean, yes, okay, it would have, but at the same time, like, the movie went way off the rails from, you know, the book and from what I was looking for. So I mean, I have a very tumultuous relationship with this movie, clearly, because
yeah,
I love the book. I don't hate the movie at all. I enjoy the movie, but like, I enjoy it for its parts rather than the whole. I enjoy the performances. I enjoy the visuals. I enjoy
the alternative ideas, even, you know, like, just to consider. Well, I mean, they may not be welcome in a presence that is in a presence of an adaptation of this movie, but it. Oh yeah, Adrian Biddle. He was the the director of photography. He actually died like 4 days before the movie was released. But no, what I was saying is that, yeah, I mean, the alternative ideas aren't really welcome in an adaptation for something like this, but there's still interesting ideas to consider as themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with that, but it's just so hard for me to separate it, because like, when the source material means so much to you, and then it's done in this way, you're just like,
Yeah, it can be frustrating at times. I understand, but I am curious now that, you know, it has been like almost 15 years since this has been released. How do you feel about it now?
I mean, I'm very much still the same way, and I think one of the reasons for this is that a big thing for me. So, you know, there's this movie talks about things like, you know, ideas being bulletproof, things of that nature.
Yes.
And when it comes to stuff like censorship, I'm a big fan of like Neil Gaiman's position that just because I'm against censorship and I don't believe anything should be censored, that doesn't mean everything should be shown. Unfortunately, to me, I feel that Hollywood is very much, and I almost hate to use the word Hollywood, but I feel for a lot of mainstream commercialized productions,
yes,
they're really afraid to show, like, to push narratives or films that go really out there. And unfortunately, I just think that I don't think what at this time, at when this movie was made, and more so now, I don't think the real out there is that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel where people think the line is not where the line actually is, and I think there's a lot more receptiveness. You know, not necessarily on a scale of, you know, everybody, obviously, but it's just like, I don't think you're going to have a commercial issue if you actually tell the story of, like, this is anarchism versus this. Because I think there's a lot more awareness now about not necessarily just straight anarchism, but, like, of ideologies that are not, like, necessarily, like, just liberal ideologies, but, you know, ideologies that are on the left, and that's like, no, we're not talking about, like, straight no control. We're not talking about that. It's like, we're talking about ideologies. It's like, well, yeah, we don't want centralized government. We want so much as we want communities who are designed to take care of each other. I think the compassion and the community sense that is really what is at the core of so many left ideologies has really been brought back into it, and that awareness has proliferated. But see, then that brings the real problem, because most of what those ideologies are talking about come down to, we don't like capitalism and we're going to do something else.
Yeah.
And so they don't, so companies trying to make a product that they're trying to sell, they don't want to sell something that is advocating for their lack of existence.
Yes, exactly.
But unfortunately, a lot of that, a lot of those kind of things are tied up in a lot of the literature and books and things that, people are adapting, whether it's overt or, more subtle. There is definitely a call against, control, like, fascism and control, but also you see calls against the, things being commoditized. You have this point, there's a subplot in the book where this woman's husband was part of the government and gets killed, and she is left so destitute that she basically has to become a stripper to make money to survive.
Yep.
And it's literally her who comes around and murders the leader.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, totally.
And that's just it. It's like, yeah, when you have a system that's built like this, where it's like, oh, suddenly you lost your social and economic means, you're in the gutter. You have nothing. You're scum. Like, calling that out, I don't think is anywhere near controversial anymore. But because these companies are existing to be like, I want money, they don't want to make products that call that out. And so it's just like, I feel that, stuff like this to me just doesn't ring genuine, because it is ignoring, like, they don't want to talk about the elephant in the room. And I just keep seeing so much media like this, even more so now, where it's just like, we're not going to talk about the elephant in the room. And literally, I would say, if not the majority, then I would say, a very significant percentage of, like, at least 40% of the people who are consuming it are like, please talk about the elephant in the room.
Exactly, because we're frustrated and we're like, dude, this shit needs to be addressed. This shit needs to be talked about.
And I mean, it's certainly very different. I have to say, like, we are speaking about this from an American perspective, which is going to be very different from an international perspective. But when we're living in a country where you can go bankrupt for medical bills that would literally cost you less than $1,000 in other civilized nations, yeah, we're frustrated.
Very much so. But we don't talk about that, I mean, because nowadays, like we were talking about Hugh Laurie earlier, when you watch House now, you're like, how the fuck are these people getting taken care of? How the fuck aren't they, like, ever? Why the hell are they never, ever talking about what their bills are going to be like? They're just like, oh, doctor, save my life.
Yeah. It's just like, you have a specialist you have a specialist doctor who is consulting, handling the case, whatever, with his 3 assistants.
Like, dude,
like,
what is that going to cost you? How are all of his patients not billionaires?
Right, they're not talking about the fact that, like, what insurance do they have? Are they ideal for this? Like, yes, some rich people get flown in, or, like, super specialty cases get flown in, but it's just like, a lot of times, like, oh, this is just rare and it showed up, and it's just like, what insurance does this person have? Exactly.
Like, I've seen House handle so many, like, people, straight up homeless people,
And, let me put it this way, because I realize that we've gotten personal a couple times on this, and this is going to get personal again. And Tim doesn't even know this, so it's going to be a bit of a shock.
Oh, I am strapped in for this.
My uncle passed away yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
After spending 2 months in and out of the hospital. And now the hospital and a rehab center. He'd smoked for about 50 years. Like, he quit a couple times, but not for any significant amount of time.
Yep.
And I mean, certainly, he was on government insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And, internationally, yeah, there's a cost associated with this, but not much. But with the inflated way they charge for medical services in this country, I mean, when you think about that and think about how, like, I had a friend who, his wife and newborn, like, his newborn was born with problems, had to be in an intensive care thing for newborns, and ended up being about 6 days in the hospital. 6 days in the hospital. That bill before insurance was like $150,000. What's the bill that is now going to have to be discharged by the taxpayers in this country for a 2-month hospital stay for that my uncle just had? And it's like, I'm not, and it's just like, no, like this profiteering medical system, like it's not viable. And that's just it. It's like, it's these kind of systems that are problems that so many people are dealing with day to day, and particularly right now with the pandemic and everything else going on.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, the people who are well off or who own stock in this or who are beneficial or who are, you know, super wealthy, but that percentage in this country has shrunk so much. I mean, I would caution to say if it's even 10% at this point, it might be less.
Oh, dude, it's probably even less than 1%. You know, like the whole.
But it's like you have like a majority of this country now. I mean, a majority. I would say 50% or more of the people in this country are living paycheck to paycheck.
Probably even more than that, honestly. It's probably.
And it's like, well, I said 50% or more. And it's like, and you have these kind of systems in place, and through all the efforts, we can't seem to get them reformed or fixed. It's just like, I'm sorry, but when somebody can go to a country in Europe and pay $3 to have like 4 tests done to see what the lump in their chest is, if it's cancer or something else, and they get that done in a day.
Yeah.
But here in America, that would take 2 weeks, countless appointments, countless tests, and an insane amount of money versus $3.
Yep.
Like, no, this is not viable. This is not okay. Like, the way we run this is awful, and yet they try to hide it behind, like, well, freedom and capitalism. And I'm just like, yeah, I kind of just want the medicine I see in these amazing European countries that you decide that we shouldn't have because you think we need to profiteer it, which, no.
So should we just urge all of our listeners to march on the White House dressed as Guy Fawkes at midnight?
Look, I'm not advocating for anything of that specifics because we don't know how stuff's playing out. And let me tell you, like, to get more real, I have a friend who's a DJ, and I was watching him stream last night. He's been in a long-term relationship with a trans person.
Mm-hmm.
They're making plans if the election, if the president gets reelected, to go to Canada.
Yeah.
Because they're that afraid that it will signal a green light to his crazy base that it is okay to lash out and attack and destroy those kind of people.
Yeah.
And that's not okay.
No,
that
it
is
never.
And it's like, that is terrifying. So no, I don't want to advocate for anything of a violent nature because guess what? That election goes wrong. I don't want to give anyone an excuse to put a black bag over my head.
Exactly.
I'm not, I mean, I will stand up all day long myself, but I want it for my own actions, not for my words. And if you're coming after my freedom of speech, I'm already afraid. And for listeners who don't know, I'm working on becoming a teacher overseas for similar reasons, because I'm very terrified of how things are going here. I realize this has gotten way off topic and
no. Honestly, I think we're right on topic.
Movie. It's what we're here for. Like, this is the discussion, and the world has gotten scary, but particularly America has gotten really scary. And
yes.
I mean, let me put this in perspective. I got sick, going back to the medical stuff, I got sick in Greece last year when I was there on vacation.
Oh, geez. And
I came down with a sinus infection.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what? Called the front desk. They got a doctor to come straight to my room. I mean, it cost me $100. Guess what? Like, that's not bad for an uninsured doctor's visit. House call.
Yeah.
The guy came to my hotel room. I got 3 prescriptions. I had no problems literally walking to the end of the street to a pharmacy. Here you go. Here's your drugs. And let me tell you, one of those drugs isn't even allowed in the U.S. Or I should say, it's not approved by the FDA here. It's a nasal spray. Man, 1 spray each nostril twice a day dried me up. That combined with the antibiotics they gave me, I was functional in less than 24 hours and was able to enjoy the rest of my time in Greece. Not to mention throughout the rest of my time on my trip. It's like, I paid at most $130 out of pocket, and everything worked out.
Yeah,
Guess
dude.
what? My copays here are $30 for having to even go in, and then if I hadn't met my deductible yet, welcome to another $90 on top of that, and that's all. It's like, and if I know, had I been a citizen in other situations like in that country, those costs would have been next to negligible. But it's like there was no wait, there was no time problem. It's like I got in like that. My friend broke his leg there. They brought a portable X-ray machine into his hotel room.
You know, that's why that shit would never fly here, because it just makes sense.
Yeah,
Nothing makes sense here.
Right. And not only did they get into his hotel room, they got all the tests that needed to be done until he had to do like a serious. It was serious enough that they needed to do like a full like MRI scan. Everything short of that was in the hotel room. First doctor coming in, X-ray coming in, and in a day, all in that same day. There was no wait.
Do you know how much you're sounding? This sounds like the fucking presidential treatment that Trump got when he got tested positive.
But here's the other thing to keep in mind. This is in Greece.
Exactly. Yeah, that's my point.
This isn't even in like the highly praised medical systems in Europe of like Iceland and Finland and like these other kind of countries. This isn't even the best country, and they're kicking our ass.
Yep. God, can you imagine how really great a place it must be for like fucking Norway? Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's like you look at this and you're just like, or I think it was Finland. Finland's one of the Nordic countries. They've solved homelessness there.
Yep.
They
I
realized
saw that.
it was literally cheaper for tax dollar wise to put people up in public housing and provide them a small living stipend so they can survive. They basically looked at the math. It's like, we're paying more on services to deal with the homeless than it would actually cost to just make sure they're not homeless.
Yeah, but see, that doesn't appease to us saying fuck poor people.
Right, but see, there's the problem. Why are the people poor? Oh, usually because there's underlying other conditions of mental health or other issues. And not only do these people, and like, oh, well, they're going to take advantage of it. It's like they offer these people those helpful services to help them actually solve their problems, get on their feet, and rejoin society. And let me tell you, how much of that, take the whole homeless population. Even say 20% of them just sit on the system and don't rejoin society. I'm pretty sure the offset tax revenues from getting 80% of them back into society and functioning, through the mental health services, through education, counseling, whatever. It's like that tax offset will probably offset the costs of that other side. It's just like, you're not looking at this logically. People think everyone wants a handout. It's like, no, it's like, do you know how bored you are if you do nothing? Most people I know don't want handouts. They want to do something. They just don't want to basically be made to feel like a worthless person who has to lick your boot or you're going to kick them in the face for not a living wage.
Exactly.
That's the issue.
Dude, that's what I've been doing. It's literally the whole reason why I'm doing this podcast right now. Is because I can't find fucking jobs as a film on a film set or as a photographer because I'm in Cincinnati. So it's not like it's totally limited out here, but now that COVID's happening, oh my God, it's been limited, and I've been hunting for months. So I'm doing this literally so I don't feel like a useless sack of shit.
Yeah, and you know what? Like when I was looking for work, man. I did because I had a point where I was unemployed for a little over a year. I was applying for at least 10 jobs a week, if not more.
Oh yeah, me too.
I didn't want to feel useless. So it's like I was writing for a friend's website to stay active. I was exercising a lot. No, I just started. This is when I was writing for Never Ending Radical Dude.
Well, while we're on real quick, just while we're on the subject of it, why don't you talk a little bit about Cryptese? Because I will also leave something in the description below for you.
I have started writing for a horror news and review website called Cryptese. I'm mostly doing either film reviews or I'm doing retro reviews of classic or underground horror films for a column called Digging Up the Dead.
Nice.
So I know by the time this is out, I have a few pieces up. My productivity has waned a little bit because of I am going through a job transition right now, but I do plan to remain with the site. But to touch back just for a second, when we were talking about the job problem and finding stuff, I saw this the other day, and this quote somebody shared, and this is just so perfect. If you want a living wage, get a better job. Is a fascinating way to spin. I acknowledge that your current job needs to be done, but I think whoever does that job deserves to be in poverty.
No, well, that's like I said. I mean,
and that's just crap. Like, I'm sorry. Like, people seem to have this idea that, like, well, I get to feel better than other people because I worked hard for all this. Like, I'm sorry. If you're working 40 hours a week, you should be able to live.
Yeah.
Period. Like, if I'm working a full-time job, I should be paid enough to not starve, to be able to afford my medical care, and to be able to afford to go to work and back and keep a roof over my head.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an exorbitant expectation.
It's not. Yeah. So I think I really do think we can call this episode V for Vent-detta, right?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, because I know we've been going on and on and on and on and on about all of this, but I'm sorry, we are really pissed off and tired and overworked, and literally this podcast is literally one of the things that both of us, I think I can speak for you too, Sean,
yes.
is one of the things that we do to stay fucking sane, because it hurts a lot. We're tired of being treated like we don't matter, and that because honestly, I really don't need a whole lot at the end of the day. I just need a house for me and my wife, and for a little studio to work in and do photography and make prints and maybe make some props, and that's really all I ask for, is a house and a little workshop, and for me to work on a film set. I don't even have to be I don't have to have like the 12-year-old me's dream of fucking directing a movie and making a feature film. I'd just be fucking happy as a pig in shit just working the fucking clapperboard on.
Right, and it's like I know a guy who he does props for movies, and he's super happy, but and he's really good at it, and he's worked his way up in the industry, and I'm super happy for him. But like, with what that industry pays for having to live in LA, it's like he's not living high on the hog or anything of that nature, and you know what, that's fine. And that's I think the whole thing that drives so many people crazy. It's like, I've worked jobs I hated because I still needed to make money.
Yes.
And it's just like, you get frustrated when you have to work a job you hate and they don't want to pay you a living wage.
Oh, that is the most frustrating thing.
I'm not saying I need to be entitled to have a job I love. I will happily work a job that I don't like. Like, I've done that. I'm okay with it. But like, if I have to work a full-time job I don't like, I should be able to live.
Yeah. No, that's totally what it is.
I shouldn't be worrying about starvation or going bankrupt from medical bills if I'm working full-time.
Exactly. This is exactly why I don't ever apply to places like McDonald's, because their pay rate is just atrocious.
Right. And people try and talk about well, you can't raise the minimum wage, but it won't work. I'm like, Australia has a $15 minimum wage, and their prices at McDonald's are, on average, not that much more expensive than ours.
Exactly. They raise
clearly
it
this
maybe
can
a
be
few
done.
cents. Totally. But no, well, I mean, that's just the thing, because literally, people like Bezos just want to literally expunge so much wealth out of you that not only do you become even more poor, and that he gets even more rich, but he literally just I want poor people to fucking die.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I mean, that's literally I'm basically down to I'm down to my knees financially at this point. I mean, I'm not asking anyone out there to send money, but fucking donations would be very, very much grateful for. We'll send you a t-shirt or a poster or something. Yeah, no, it's I literally cannot buy anything for myself outside of gas and food. That is it.
Yeah. And like I've entirely been there. It's like I've been on unemployment when I first got off of unemployment when I lost my job in pharmaceuticals. Couldn't find work for a year, and then the work that I found was like postal relief at the post office, which wasn't full time and the pay was not good.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, I was working and I ended up working a lot because they needed a lot of relief, but it was still like it was a brutal time sink. It had brutal hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was
my mom
not,
worked the post office for a while, and it was really hard on her too.
and I eventually had to go back to another position, another field I didn't like, but it paid a lot better. Like I ended up back in specialty retail sales. And while it was the best retail I ever worked, I still hate retail. It sucked.
Oh, I hate
Now,
retail too, dude.
I'm transitioning to become a teacher, and I think I'm going to enjoy this a lot better. I think it has a lot of the aspects I liked of sales without a lot of the negatives.
And naturally, I wish you nothing but the best down that path. Seriously.
Yeah, and thank you. But at the same time, it's just like I'm pursuing these other paths just because it's like, why am I going to go try to teach English overseas? Well, because I see nothing but problems in this country, and all my efforts to fight and educate and change things seem to have gone for nothing. And it just seems like there's so much doubling down on the things that clearly haven't worked. And it's just like, if you're going to destroy yourselves and destroy the world in the pursuit of, wealth accumulation, I'm pretty sure I could find somewhere else on the planet to exist besides this. And look, I really do. I'm not trying to say this as, like a person coming out here like I hate my country. Like, no, like I love my country. There's some great things about it.
Oh yeah,
but there's
dude.
also just so much that is messed up that needs to be addressed. And man, there are people out there trying to address those issues and fight for those issues. I mean, gosh, like all my love to AOC and to the people in her camp fighting these fights. And those are the people I support, and I really hope they come through and can get things pushed forward. But you know what? I don't know that that's going to happen, and
at least not on our lifetimes.
Well, who knows? But also, I am not an optimistic person in general, and I have had to watch myself struggle to find any kind of viable career path for almost 20 years.
Yeah,
so
me
sorry,
too.
but I'm out. Like I'm gonna go find something else to do that allows me to travel and see interesting things. And I hope things get better, but
maybe we should just take a page out of Dr. Manhattan and just be like, well, Mars seems nice this time of year.
Oh gosh, I mean, I volunteer as tribute.
I know, right? Oh man, one of these days we'll just fuck off to Mars. But then again, of course, knowing the human race will probably fuck that up too. Yahoo.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's okay.
Like at the same time, though, I will say this: as bad as things are, I'm also a student of history.
Yes.
And I'm aware there's always a tipping point. You
Yep.
mentioned people like Bezos and the stuff he's doing and all that, and it's like, yeah, guess what? When bread got too expensive in Paris, things jumped off.
The times they are a changing.
So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I don't care how much money you have or how many private soldiers you decide to hire. It's like you don't have enough to stop everyone else.
Yep.
That's simply not
you
possible.
can't arrest the entire country, Sutler.
Not even not even the entire country. It's like, guess what? You're a company that's based around the globe, and like, okay, you might get things. So like, you can't exploit 8 billion people for the efforts of 2 billion, because if those 8 billion people decide to start rising up, your 2 billion can't stop them.
Eat the rich. Exactly.
Pretty much.
Oh, but again, I still think back to that Werner Herzog quote that the universe's prime function is darkness, chaos, and disorder, and that if we by human nature choose to find meaning and order and reason in that darkness, then that just makes us the light, the defiant light in the universe. So, despite all our pessimism for the way, for not just how things are, but the way humanity is, that thought always just gives me that no matter how dark things get, there's always a little bit of hope to keep going. Just so long as we just make sure that that light doesn't go out fully. Then well, I don't think any of us have anything left to say.
Fair.
And speaking of which, I think that's actually a pretty good way to cap this episode off, because we've been going off for a really long time. And for those of you who've actually stuck around for this entire time, kudos to you. Like, thanks for listening. No, seriously, like, those of you who are
Much
actually
love.
sticking around, for real, thanks for listening, because, like, this is what we do to stay sane. Hopefully this is what you listen to stay sane. And like I said, we'll be back again we'll be back again next week for actually another kind of dystopian future, but this one I guarantee you is going to be a little bit shorter, slightly. We still go off on the rails a little bit, but we're going to be back with you next week with another dystopian, but far more whimsical and fun, Terry Gilliam's Brazil. I know you've been really excited about that one, Sean.
Brazil.
Because you're like an even bigger Terry Gilliam fan than I am. But yeah, that'll be next week. We didn't watch the movie we didn't make the movie V for Vendetta, but we watched it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and you enjoyed time here, and we really do love all of you listening. So as always, I've been Tim.
I've been Sean.
And this has been Contract, where you'll never have to watch a movie alone again. Peace.